Hello everyone. Welcome to Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team. Any percent, no quick save, no Wonder Mail. I'll explain what that category means in a bit, but first things first, we're gonna try and get ourselves a starter. I'm gonna give it 3 tries. If not, I have a backup, but I hope we don't have to use it, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm ready when you guys are. Yep. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so this is immediately one of the scariest parts, trying to get a starter. I'm hoping that we get decent questions here, but it's not looking good right now. I've only had one good question so far. Yeah, I didn't think so. That is, if I had picked Boy, that would have been the correct starter for the Manipped runs, but we are going to do no manipulation, so that's unfortunately a quick reset. Like I said, we're going to give it 3 tries. If not, I'll load up a backup save that I made on a flashcard. So we'll see how it goes. The downside is, if you fail to get the starter, you have to sit through this screen, so that kind of sucks. Okay, attempt number 2. Let's see how that's gonna go. We're aiming to get a Hasty Nature because that gives us Skitty, and Skitty is really overpowered in this game. You'll see soon enough why, but let's try again. Okay, that's a good question. That's also a good one. Docile. That's unfortunate. Nope, that is 2 fails. One more try, and otherwise I'm loading up my flashcard. This is the unfortunate thing with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. We have to get a specific starter, and if we don't get it, we just have to reset. There's really no way around it. Oh well. Just gonna try again. Like I said, it's not a big deal. I have the backup ready. I'm just really hoping that I won't have to use it. Earlier when I made the backup save, it took me 12 resets to get it. So that was kind of painful. Usually doesn't take that many, but it can. Okay, this is looking good so far. Hardy? Well, too bad. We're gonna play for a little bit. I'm not gonna name them right now. The names are already set on the backup save, but I do want to actually show you the first part. So, because of that, it doesn't really matter who we pick. I'm just gonna show you the first part, and then we're gonna load up my flashcard and load the backup save. In any case, welcome everybody to Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team. This is not the team that we're going to be using because this is a terrible team to use, but we're going to just have to deal with that. Essentially, what happens is we're a human turned into a Pokemon, and we wake up in the shape of, well, this time a Pikachu. It's supposed to be a Skitty. We'll be changing into the Skitty in a bit. Just like with this, we're going to just leave it at this. Like I said, I'll be putting in the names in a bit once we actually switch to the flashcard, because I want to try and save a little bit of time here. But yeah, after a little bit of back and forth, Butterfree shows up, and her baby boy, he fell into this fissure that had opened up, and she's looking for Pokemon that can help out. Now, we're here. We might as well. So we're first going to do a little bit of settings. I guess I'll do it like that. Check IQ. We're going to do that. And some game options. Set that to fast. Nope. Come on. Yes. That's going to allow us to move a bit faster through this dungeon. This dungeon's only 3 floors, but it can go really quickly or it can take a while. We'll see how it goes. And this kind of shows what Mystery Dungeon is kind of all about. Mystery Dungeon is a roguelike, in that every single dungeon, as soon as we enter, we have no idea what it's going to look like. So all of the floors are going to be random, the items are going to be random, the enemies we encounter are going to be pretty much random. Tiny Woods is the smallest dungeon of them all. It only has 3 floors. So we rescue the Caterpie here, and with our boy, or with the little Caterpie unharmed, he's you know, it's all good. So the Butterfree is all happy that we rescued Caterpie, and she's going to give us some berries as a thank you. Now, as a result of this, since we don't really have anywhere to go, I mean, we're still a human-turned Pokemon. We barely know what's going on. Charmander offers us a place to stay. He's got this this team base right here, and he's offering us a free place there. He also suggests that we form a rescue team, and we're going to do that. A rescue team called ESA, because that was the one that won the name. And I'll put that one in because you don't actually see the team name often, although it does show up a few times in menus and whatnot. Yeah, he explains to us how there have been a lot of natural disasters lately, and Pokemon are kind of in trouble. So a lot of rescue teams have been forming to try and help out the Pokemon. So yeah, our team name, ESA. Now after this, we pretty much go to bed, and that's where the required save, is. So this is where I'm gonna quit out of the game. I'm gonna switch from my actual cartridge to a flash card that I have, where I prepared a backup save in case we wouldn't get it. So this is, I don't like having to load this up, but so be it. Of course, that does mean the run is by definition invalid right now, but so be it. Okay. Recruit them all when? Probably soon. I run recruit them all in this game as well, so. Okay, so we wake up again, now as Skitty. We've suddenly turned from a Pikachu into a Skitty. That's all intended, of course. All of the names are now also set correctly, and we can actually move on. So Squirtle fell asleep in front of the house waiting for us, because he didn't want to interrupt. And this is, well, we're officially a rescue team, but we haven't really gotten any job offers yet. So Squirtle decides to check the mailbox, where we find a starter kit. The starter kit contains a badge, a toolbox, and an issue of the Pokemon News. The toolbox allows us to keep bring 20 items with us into a dungeon, which is really useful. The Pokemon News we're largely going to ignore, and the badge isn't really going to be relevant in this run in any way. And then Pelipper comes flying by. He's got some jobs for us. Or rather, a job for us. And then just flies away again. And we did indeed get a mission. Magnemite is in trouble. There's a cave with a very strong magnetic field. And, well, Magnemites need 3 to form a Magneton, but there's only 2 of them there. So they're stuck. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go into the dungeon and we're going to save our boy Magnemite. Now we're going to get a few instructions as we go. We're going to just try to get through this dungeon as fast as we can. We do actually want to attempt to hit level 7 with Squirtle. Just to make the later parts a bit safer and a bit easier. So we'll start seeing some level up screens. Okay, I found the stairs here. I actually want this apple right now. So there's a few items that I'll be looking out for. Specifically, Reviver Seeds and Max Elixirs are very important in this run. If we don't, like, aside from those, we also like to see Oron Berries and things like, well, money comes in handy and occasionally. And then apples, just to make sure that we have enough stamina to go through places, that sort of stuff. Okay, so we just hit level 7. This is kind of the level that we want to have coming out of this dungeon, so we're in pretty good shape right now. Now, you may have already seen that little heart pop up above. Okay, that's just a blast seed, I don't need that. Above the Puchena, that is the first instance of my Cute Charm ability. Skitty is overpowered for a few reasons. It gets access to Double Slap, which is a really broken move in this game. It has the Cute Charm ability, which means when an enemy hits me, there's a chance he gets infatuated, which essentially means he just can't do anything for a few turns. On top of that, we also have the move Attract, which does kind of the same thing, except it's even more broken, because we can pretty much use it with 100% accuracy. It just disables everybody from doing anything. We got access to Attract just now here, and it is going to completely break pretty much every boss fight that we have to go through. Unfortunately, we went the wrong way, so we're going to have to backtrack a bit. This is a pretty common theme in Mystery Dungeon runs, where we just don't get the kind of floors that we would like to see, and that loses a lot of time. The game being a roguelike just kind of means that it can go in a lot of different directions very quickly. Like, we can get some really good floors and save some time, or we can get some really bad floors and lose some time. If it really comes down to it, I can use RNG manipulation for the last few dungeons to save a bit of time back. Hopefully we don't have to, but that is a backup I might go for if needed. So yeah, while I'm at it, let me actually explain the category. So the category says any percent, no WM, no QS. WM is Wonder Meal. Essentially what you can do in this game is you can use codes to get very specific missions, which we could use to get, for example, a Warp Scarf, or things like Frustration, which is a really powerful move. We get things like that in the manipulated runs. No quick save just basically means I can't use the quick save function in a dungeon. The reason that quick save becomes so useful is if you use quick save while in just before the stairs in a dungeon, you can load up the game and it'll load up a set RNG value. Basically, it always gets set to the same value. So we know exactly what floor is going to happen afterwards. And through that, we can pretty much manipulate every single floor in the dungeon, except for the first one. So yeah, that run just becomes like an hour faster as a result or something. Anyway, we get into town, and we start to see a bunch of shops that are set up. There's the Kecleon shop, which sells us like food items, reviver seeds, that sort of stuff. There is the bank, where we can store our money so that we don't lose it if we die. Kankaskan, where we can store items for the same reason. And Gulpin, where at Gulpin we can link our moves and relearn older moves and whatnot. Now, at the very end, there is the Pelipper base, and there's also a bulletin board. This is where a bunch of missions are at. We're going to just accept all of them. And we're going to actually be doing pretty much all of them in a bit as well. We don't really have to link moves yet, so I'm going to not do that just yet. Instead, we are going to do the 2 Tiny Woods missions. How much money do I have? Okay, I'm actually going to check if I can sell enough. No, that's not going to work. Essentially, if I can get up to 800, I have the chance to buy an extra Reviver Seed. Reviver Seeds, basically what they do is if I die at any point in a dungeon, a Reviver Seed will give me another chance. It'll instantly trigger, and then we just get revived right away. Very useful in a lot of situations. Okay, So here we just have to go to floor 2. I believe the Oron Berry was floor 3. So that actually saves a little bit of time. Okay, floor 2 has the Oron Berry quest. I wasn't entirely sure. A message will prompt here that we've reached our destination floor. So somewhere on this floor is a Pokemon in need of rescuing. It's up to us to try and find them. There it is. There's the Voltorb. So we just save the Voltorb, get out of here, claim our reward. The reason we need to do this is at certain points, you need to pass an amount of time before the next story prompt will trigger. In this case, we needed to finish 2 missions. It didn't matter where, but we needed to finish 2 missions. And Tiny Woods kind of works out in such a way that we can do exactly the 2 missions we need. We got really good rewards there. I got both a Reviver Seed and a Max Elixir. So that's really, really good. But now that we've done 2 missions, the next day will trigger. You may have already noticed before, but Skitty is having some weird dreams. And we get another one here. He notices that a Pokemon is talking to the Skitty, but we don't know who that Pokemon is. And then an earthquake happens. And right out of the ground, well, there's nothing, but then we hear somebody talk. And out of the ground, a Ductrio is going to pop up. He's just going to dig a hole through our floor. He's like that. And he mentions that Diglett is up on Mount Steel, captured by a Pokemon named Skarmory. And he's asking us to help the Diglett. Well, thank you, Franken. I appreciate that. PB is void right now. We've loaded up a backup save. So we cannot PB. Yeah, we've got access to Mount Steel now. This is the first longer dungeon. Which we're gonna try to go through it as quick as we can. I'm gonna look around for some orbs as well, because an escape orb could really be helpful. I already have gravel or rock, so I don't really have to worry about that, luckily. Okay, so here we go. Let's see how we... Oh boy, that Zigzagoon did a lot of damage there. I'm glad we just leveled, because at least we're going to be doing a little bit more damage on other Pokemon. Oh boy. Okay, Squirtle, can you take care of that, please? I am not in a position to deal with that properly. So yeah, this is one of those dungeons. This Mount Steel can be very scary. It's also the dungeon where the first boss fight is going to be. Okay, well that kind of worked out. That should be fine. Okay, we actually got the one shot this time, so that's nice. On to floor 3. It's actually I kind of want a warp orb. That's kind of useful. Orbs are just a one-time use item that I can use for various effects. The warp orb warps every enemy in a room away, which okay, we're gonna do this a little bit differently here. Okay, I'm gonna have to just... Oh, that's bad. This could be very bad right now. Okay, that's good. How are we gonna deal with this? I think this is... Because we're still in Torrent, so we still had that option. Okay, we got through that. This has not been a good dungeon so far. It's been quite scary. What are all these Pokemon doing here? Jeez, there's so many. Okay, I'm gonna eat this. Squirtle, please kill that. Thank you. This is one heck of a hallway right here. Okay, we're moving on. That... oh boy. Okay, this Chidu... Squirtle can take care of that. This is one of the reasons, by the way, why we use Squirtle in a lot of the runs with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I've mentioned why we use the Skitty, but the Squirtle actually also serves quite a purpose. Squirtle is really good in dealing with a lot of the early game enemies. It has a ranged move in Bubble, which just... It completely destroys a lot of these rock-type Pokemon that we see here. And that kind of makes him a really good support Pokemon, even though he becomes kind of useless in the second half of the run. Okay, at least we got a few floors now. This is the last floor before the boss. Okay. We made it to the boss. This has been something else. So, this is really where you got to see how RNG can be in this game. You can get floors back-to-back where the stairs are right next to you. You just instantly move on. But then there's also floors like what we just had with enemies everywhere. Just everything trying to kill you. But yeah, we meet up with Skarmory, and Skarmory tells us that the Diglett, or that he hasn't been sleeping well because of all the earthquakes. And Squirtle tries to reason with Skarmory, trying to explain like how one Diglett can't, or one Diglett family can't possibly cause all this. But he's just not willing to listen to us. That's just not happening. But then we defeat him in battle, and Skarmory flees. Now, the problem is Diglett is kind of in a place where we can't get him, and he's too scared to come down. And that is one heck of a cliff. Lucky for us, right at that moment, Magnemite shows up, and Magnemite is going to rescue the Diglett here. We're unfortunately not going to get confirmed if the Diglett actually has feet or not, but it's just, yeah. They do mention something about the feet here. It's kind of a cool little joke they do. And at that point, we hear some talking again, but we can't see him because Dugtrio was still underground. Now, lucky for us, we're actually going to get quite a good reward out of this. This is definitely one of the missions that gives you some of the best rewards that we've done up to this point. We're going to get a Ginseng and a Pecha Scarf. Now, neither of those items is particularly useful, but they sell for about the value of 2 Reviver Seeds. And we're going to be attempting to buy a few in a bit. So we tell the Magnemites that we need more members, but they can't join us yet because we don't have an area where they can live. The way that it worked in this particular Mystery Dungeon game is Pokemon will join you if you have the right area, and then when you defeat them, there's a chance they'll join the party. Unfortunately, we don't have any areas yet, so we can't actually recruit anything just yet. It's not a big deal for us because we don't really want to recruit anything because recruiting is slow, but that is generally how it works. In Recruit 'em All, it's very satisfying to go through all those little areas afterwards and seeing so many cute little Pokemon like everywhere just hopping about. It's really cool. Yeah, we get a glimpse of the Pokemon that's been in our dreams now. We get to see a glimpse of a Gardevoir. We tell Squirtle about the dreams, but we don't really know what they're all about, so we get asked by Squirtle if we want to be a human again, and we're not really sure. But yeah, we're going to go back to Pokemon Square because the Wigglytuff shop just opened up. And Wigglytuff here is the Pokemon that will allow us to get more Pokemon in our team. I'm going to quickly sell some stuff. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of that. There's a few things that are just not really worth selling, so I'm just going to trash them. But I wanted to at least get some money, because we can use that to buy this Reviver Seed. We really want to just have as many Revivers as we can. I'm going to trash that. We're going to go to the Gulpin, and we're going to link our moves. This is something that, when playing it casually, I never really got why this was a thing. As a speedrunner, it is so broken. Basically, what it allows me to do is I can now use multiple attacks in the same turn. And being able to use more than one attack in the same turn can be really, really helpful in dealing with later enemies. Right now, it's just set up that we do Tail Whip and Tackle, which already helps with a lot of the bosses. But we're also going to get access to things like, for example, with the Squirtle, where we have Tail Whip, then Tackle, then Bubble. So he'll do all three of those moves in the same hit. And later on, when we get Double Slap, that essentially allows me to do upwards of 6 attacks in a turn. And that's just really broken. Yeah, Magnemite is going to join us here. We're going to allow him to join our rescue team. We're not going to nickname him. We're not ever going to use Magnemite again. And now that we have the friend area, we can move on. Now, before we actually move on, we are going to go onto the Pokemon Square and get the 2 Tiny Woods missions here. I'm going to accept a few Mount Steel missions for later. We're not going to be doing the Mount Steel missions until way, way later into the game. Like, we're going to do them like an hour and a half from now or something. But we are going to do the Thunderwave Cave missions in a bit. And then immediately after, we're going to do the 2 Tiny Woods missions. In order to progress the game past this point, we need to do 5 missions total. So we're going to just do 3 first, then 2 more. We also get to see a cutscene here with his Jumpluff. His friend is missing, and he's asking Shiftry for help because the Shiftry is a Pokemon that can bring up like a gust of wind that would blow the Jumpluff, would be able to like blow the Jumpluff back to where it's supposed to be. But Shiftry it's not exactly the purest kind of Pokemon. He'll only do it for a lot of money. Then Alakazam shows up, and Alakazam right here is the leader of the most powerful team in the thing. It's a gold-ranked team consisting of Alakazam, Charizard, and Tyranitar. They're supposed to pretty much be the most powerful Pokemon that do rescues around here. We also get to see this Pokemon right here. Kind of the villain of the game, Gengar. But yeah, first things first, we're going to accept the 3 Thunderwave Cave missions. And we're going to head towards Thunderwave Cave here. The Pelipper is going to drop some more stuff here. It doesn't matter what he drops. Like, we don't really care. Nothing too relevant. And on to Thunderwave Cave. Okay, so this is 3 missions. Essentially, it works the same as with the earlier missions, where we just go through some floors. Like on floors 3, 4, and 5, we're going to find a Pokemon somewhere, get them out, and then after the 3rd one, we're going to escape out of the dungeon. So while I go through this, host, if there's anything you want to talk about, now would be a pretty good time.
Alright, we do indeed have 2 new donations. $5 donation by Rekild saying honk, and that's going towards the bid war for Plants vs. Zombies. He's putting his $5 towards Aqua Center, which means that Z-Tech Factory is still in the lead ahead of Aqua Center, but only by $5. And another $10 donation by Sam with no comment.
Okay, by the way, just for future reference, if we get donations, just interrupt me, that's fine. We've got plenty of time. I can talk about the story a little bit later. It's all good. Okay, so we're now on floor 3. This is our first destination floor. Because of the color scheme of this dungeon, it can be really hard to notice where a rescue is at. On the mini-map, they show in yellow, but with the yellow background, that can be really hard to see sometimes. And unfortunately, we're seeing quite a lot of Pokemon show up. Okay, he's on the right here. So we're going to rescue this Wurmple. We're going to specifically say that we don't want to leave. That's kind of important because we still have 2 more Pokemon to rescue. Haven't seen him yet. We found the stairs, so we can at least move on to the next floor the moment that we find our client, but no luck so far. Okay, there he is. Let's go, Nidoran. Okay, last floor, this is where we just have to find our client. We don't actually have to look for the stairs at all. So hopefully we'll be able to find it quick. There it is. Let's go. Okay, with everybody rescued, we can now warp out once again. And, like, luckily, every time you finish a mission, you get the chance to just instantly warp out. So we're going to make use of that here to move on. We're going to hope to get some additional Reviver Seeds. The rewards are random. Max Elixir is fine. The Gravel or Rocks I'm just going to end up tossing, so I don't really want to see those. Max Elixirs are still useful. And the Reviver Seed. Okay, that was pretty good. We got some decent rewards there. And with that, it's time for us to hit the hay. Now, the next morning when we wake up, and this is kind of why we do have to do the mission separately. I can't just do 5 missions at once. Even if we would be able to, how do you say? Even if we were to be able to get 5 missions in one dungeon. But after the 3rd mission is completed, this cutscene triggers. This is Team Meanie. They are kind of an evil rescue team. And they're going to steal all of our job offers. They're just going to plunder our mailbox. There wasn't really much in it at all. So this doesn't really do much for us, but they're gonna be rude like that. Their team is they even flat out say it. Their team is evil, and they're just using it to get money and the likes. And yeah, it's not Gengar. Let's just say Gengar is not exactly a nice guy. Now, immediately after, lucky for us, Pelipper shows up, and he does actually drop another mission for us. It should be a Mount Steel 3rd floor mission, if I'm not mistaken. Cool, perfect. We actually want that mission specifically, because that's one of the missions that we're going to be accepting later. So this time, we only have to do 2 missions, and the fastest way to do that is by going into Tiny Woods and rescuing 2 Pokemon here. See how fast we can do that. Luckily, these floors tend to be really short. Like Tiny Woods really has, like you can, the floor designs are always really short, so it's pretty easy, generally speaking, to get through it quickly. That's not to say that it's guaranteed, but generally this is one of the quicker dungeons to look in. I thought for a second there, I thought I saw the client on the mini-map. One thing to note, I can use A to do a regular attack, which is kind of like a non-type, or like an attack without a type. The problem with using that, however, is that if I don't use any of my actual like more powerful moves, I only get half of the normal amount of experience. It's not going to matter here in any way, but later on, there are certain fights where we kind of have to anyway. Not just because of the because of how powerful it is, but also just because it gives more experience. Generally, you just use it anyway because they're the more powerful moves, and they're almost as quick to use. But that is kind of a thing that sort of comes into play. So then we pass on to the next day again. And we're going to get a scene again with Team Meanie. They are not quite done terrorizing us. You see, when we head out, we get another mission. Because Caterpie just came towards us. His friend Metapod is missing. They were playing and Metapod got lost in the woods. Then Team Meanie shows up and is like, we'll save Metapod for you. Except the problem is Caterpie doesn't have any money. Like, there's nothing he can give as a reward. But Gengar has a solution. If he rescues the Metapod, Caterpie has to join his team. Before Caterpie even gets a chance to reply, they just go. Okay, we're gonna make a quick stop in town here before we leave. I'm gonna check for more Reviver Seeds if I can. Unfortunately, there aren't any this time around. I'm gonna trash that. Don't need those. Okay. I mean, we kind of have enough anyway, so it's not a big deal. But I figured it was worth checking. We're also gonna accept these 3 missions. That's just for later. And on to Sinister Woods. Now, Sinister Woods is like the first bigger dungeon that we go through. It doesn't have a midpoint like some of the later dungeons will, but this is definitely one of the dungeons where things can become quite scary, and the final boss of this dungeon is actually a bit more difficult. Okay, so the Sudowoodo is now going to chase us. That's okay, though. I'm going to attempt to dodge those random encounters. Can you? Yeah, thank you. Unfortunately, I walked right into a dead end. The Sudowoodo won't actually do anything to me as long as I stay at least a tile away from it. The moment that we get too close, though, he'll start chasing me, and he can actually do okay damage. So I want to make sure that we avoid that as much as possible. Okay, we get level 11 there. At some point, there's a good chance that Squirtle will start learning Water Gun. We are going to learn it, but we're going to disable it until we can link it with other moves. Wow, what good movement right there. Let's go. Floor 5. Okay. The Silcoon and Cascoon on these floors can't actually move, so we don't have to worry about those. That kind of becomes relevant in a Recruit Them All especially. They are, in a non-manipulated Recruit Them All run, they are really annoying to get, just because they don't move around in any way. I can ignore that. I'm tempted to start picking up a gummy at some point just to refill my belly. One mechanic we haven't really seen yet is the hunger mechanic. Over time, as I take more steps through the dungeon, I grow hungry. And if my belly runs to, all the way to 0, I start taking 1 damage per step I take until I eat something. We have some apples, so we have ways of dealing with it. But this is a dungeon where there's a lot of food items on the ground, generally speaking. Okay, floor 8. I'll have Squirtle deal with that. Unless he misses twice. Okay, so Squirtle basically just missed everything. That's kind of annoying. Okay, so far so good. Let's see if we can actually... Oh boy, that was a pretty big hit. I'm gonna have Squirtle try and defeat it though. So another level up. Okay, we're down to 2 HP. This is getting a little bit scary. Okay. Stair floor there. The other thing is you don't actually get healed going into any of the boss fights. So if we're low health going into a boss fight, we're still going to be low health for that fight. So that can actually be an additional thing to keep an eye out for. Because the next boss can definitely do quite a bit of damage. Okay, that was pretty alright. Let's see how floor 11 is going to be. So here I just kind of walk in such a way that Squirtle is next to us so that if I don't kill, at least the Squirtle can then take care of it. Okay, it ate my Y input. That's annoying. It worked out in the end. Okay, there we go. This Hoot we're going to have to defeat. We got a critical hit, luckily, so it worked out. So we're almost at the end here. We should still have enough power points to make it through. Okay, so this is floor 13. This is where the people from Team Meanie are gonna show up. They're like, we're gonna get the Metapod first, and then Caterpie will have to join us. And, you know, there's something about world domination and whatnot. Now, we're not going to accept that, so we're going to fight them. We're going to use Graveler Rocks mostly, because the Gengar has Spite, which can drop my power points for that particular move pretty much all the way to 0. Ooh, Hypnosis is annoying. See, now Spite doesn't actually do anything. But I am going to just have to wait until we wake up, I'm afraid. And there we go. Okay. At least the fight went all right. The sleep was kind of annoying, but it went all right outside of that. So Team Meanie, they're gonna run away scared. And Metapod comes walking towards us. We have found ourselves the boy Metapod. And it's time for us to go home. Caterpie is going to be all happy. Now, Caterpie doesn't really have any money, so there's nothing he can give us. But he has an idea. You see, it might be cool if at some point we redecorate the base. Like, make a proper rescue team base. And Caterpie and Metapod, they decide that if we're going to do that, they're going to help out in the construction of it. Now, that is actually going to be a thing. We are going to redo the base, but that won't be for quite some time. Instead, it's nap time. So we're going to run out and meet up with Squirtle again. It's another morning, but then Jumpluff comes running towards us. The Shiftry that he had sent on a mission hasn't returned yet. So now not only Jumpluff, but also Shiftry is missing. That's kind of an issue. So he's going to give the rescue mission to us and hope that we can figure out what's been going on. There's apparently not even a breeze there, so Shiftry wasn't able to do anything. But there are a lot of thunder clouds and the likes. We're going to quickly go into Pokemon Square. Check the Kecleon shop for a Reviver Seed, which unfortunately, again, he doesn't have any. How many do we have anyway? 4. Okay, I have enough for a while still, but I'd really like to have gotten some. Main reason I had to go in is I need some missions. Okay, I gotta keep in mind that I have to keep an Oron Berry. And then we're just going to immediately head on. I have to check the board later again because we still don't have all of the missions we need. But that's not terrible because I can use that opportunity to check the Keck shop another time. Now this is the first dungeon where we're going to see two items, or where we might see two items that I really need in the in this particular run. There's a power band and a special band. The power band boosts the damage output from physical hits. The special band boosts it from special hits, which is type dependent since it's a Gen 3 game. So we're looking for a power band for Skitty to boost the power of Tackle and later also Double Slap. And we're going to look for a special band for Squirtle to boost the power of Water Gun and Bubble. Yeah, when I say Keck shop, I mean the Kecleon shop. Kecleon is the Pokemon that runs it. Okay, that's a bit of an annoying quick attack, but we can take care of the Yanma here. Once we get the power band, the odds of actually one-shotting Pokemon becomes significantly bigger. Squirtle, please take care of that Farfetch'd. Okay, so we're going to get a chance to learn Sing here. We don't need it. Doesn't do anything for us. So we're just going to ignore it and move on. This is the first dungeon, really, where there's a lot of floors with a lot of small rooms. As we go through dungeons, you'll start noticing there is a lot of dungeons that have just dozens of rooms, and all really small, and the stairs can be in any one of them. This is one such example, but there will be quite a few more later on. Okay, so far so good. Okay, I'm kind of happy that the Farfetch'd didn't actually hit. At least that first time. Because we are significantly lower on health than I like to be here. This dungeon itself isn't really that long. I believe it's like 9 floors that we have to go through. And then we get to the ending on floor 10. Okay, that's just a gummy. I want to kind of try and check items, because if we can find a power band, it makes the rest of the dungeon safer. It's worth killing an extra Pokemon over finding a power band. Okay, that's just a dead end. That's money. We have plenty of money as it is. There's a Gloom over there somewhere. Gloom isn't really a threat. Especially if it keeps using Sweet Scent. It won't actually get close enough to do anything. So that worked out. Floor 7. It's going to be several Pokemon chasing us. That kind of sucks. Looks like Squirtle's going to have to deal with one of them. Paris is one that I, if possible, would like to avoid fighting. And here is why. Unfortunately, the Squirtle decided to step on water, so that didn't exactly help. We're going to learn Water Gun here, though. Very useful move later on. Not going to come into play much early on, though. We're going to just switch it off, keep it in the back for later. Oh, I saw the stairs there. Let's go. Floor 8. Nice stair floor. Let's go. So this is the last floor, at least of this dungeon. So far, this dungeon's actually been going decently well. We've had to fight a decent few enemies, but outside of that, there's actually... because there's other things that I'm keeping an eye on here as well. If we... let's see, how do I best describe this? There are certain Pokemon in these dungeons, and they kind of start in this one, that have multi-hit moves. Good examples are Beedrill, Fearow, Skitty also has one, but we're not going to see Skitty. But multi-hit moves have a chance to, at worst, lose me 2 Reviver Seeds in a single turn. But yeah, we find Shiftry and Jumpluff, and then the moment that we try to rescue them, Zapdos shows up and takes the Shiftry. And Zapdos tells us that if we want to rescue Shiftry, we gotta go to Mount Thunder. So yeah, that's kind of a thing. And then Alakazam's team shows up here and tells us about the legendary bird Zapdos, about how it's a really, really powerful Pokemon. It's enraged from all the disasters disturbing its sleep. That's why it's being as aggressive as it is. But basically Alakazam tells us Zapdos is way too powerful for your skill level right now. We're going to fake a Stomach Egg, because that's the fastest way to get through this dialogue. And Squirtle is just going to be like, yeah, he always fakes something like that. He's just pretending, don't worry. We agree that both of the rescue teams are going to go to Mount Thunder, but we're going to go separately. So we're going to attempt to rescue Shiftry, and we'll just see who gets to the top first. Okay, a little bit of dialogue. Since we don't have all of the missions I need yet, we're going to go into Keck's shop once again, see if he now has Reviver Seeds, and this time he actually does. Oh, I should probably actually buy it. There we go. I had to go to the right here anyway, just because we don't have all the moves yet, or all the missions yet. And there's still none on there. I need another Tiny Woods mission. It's kind of bad that we don't have those yet. Okay. Mount Thunder it is. Mount Thunder early on in the game is easily one of the most deadly dungeons.
I do have a quick donation. Do you have
Yep,
time?
sure. Go ahead.
There's a $5 donation by Hab Keine Name, saying greetings from Germany to all the amazing people joining this awesome event, and good luck to my dude Crrool. The money goes to runner's choice.
What incentives do we still have?
We have the map incentive for Plants vs. Zombies and the language incentive for Sekiro.
What language options do we have?
In the lead is Japanese with $20. Behind that, French with 10, and then you can also choose English, German, Italian, and Spanish.
Put it to English.
All right.
Okay, so we're poisoned right now, and that's really annoying. But we kind of have to move on. Once you're poisoned, you don't actually heal at all anymore, like by moving around. And every so often, you take 4 points of damage. That continues until I either die, which triggers a Reviver Seed, move to the next floor, like we just did, or use a Pecha Berry, which I do have one, but I want to keep that in case emergency for later on. There's another dead end. We're running into a lot of dead ends this dungeon so far. That's really bad, actually. And I'm down to 4 HP, and we miss. Yep. There goes my first Reviver Seed. So we just lost one of our 5 Reviver Seeds. You might be thinking, like, you have 5, it'll be fine. But losing one this early in the dungeon is not how I wanted to get rid of them. Later on, the actual scary Pokemon are going to show up. And we get something here that I haven't really mentioned that, but floors like this, we tend to call an anti-stair floor. Basically, it's a floor where the stairs are in the very last room I check. We don't want Weedle joining our party. There's no need for that. So this is a great example of that, because the stairs were in the very last room here. I'm tempted to bring the gold ribbons. The gold ribbons don't actually do anything, but you can sell them for about 2,000, which is the equivalent of like 2.5 Reviver Seed. Nothing there. Okay, stairs, finally. I'm really hoping for a few stair floors now, because so far this has not been going too well. So this is one such multi-hit move. He actually lived too. We got him infatuated, luckily, so he's not actually going to do anything for a few turns. So I can risk to just use weaker moves. Okay, there we go. Thanks, Chen. Yeah, dungeons can be fully RNG manipulated. That's a different category, though. So we're gonna not do that here unless I don't have any other choice. If it really starts to look like we're gonna be running behind by like a lot, I'm going to opt to RNG manipulate the last few dungeons, just to save some time. Make sure we don't run even further behind on schedule. Hopefully that won't be something I have to resort to, though. Though if dungeons keep going like this, we may very well have to. Which dungeon do we start seeing shops in dungeons? I'm not exactly sure where that starts, if I'm being honest. Like, I wouldn't know exactly which dungeon that the shops actually begin. We're still a bit away from it, I think, but okay. We made it to the end of that floor. These are really, really bad so far. Okay, Ampharos is not really one of the scary Pokemon. One downside of Squirtle, like I said, was really good to deal with early game enemies. But now that we're in this dungeon, it actually kind of becomes a different story. Squirtle is pretty much weak to all of these electric type Pokemon, and the electric types can do a lot of damage to Squirtle. We're on 6 floors and we're already getting hungry. That is, I guess that shows how bad this floor has been so far, or this dungeon. Also, still no sign of a power band or a special band either. Okay, we find an apple here. That at least is good. Means we don't have to worry about the hunger anymore for a little bit. Yeah, he's bound to do that again. I want to try to keep this Electabuzz at a 1-tile distance, so that I don't actually have to fight it, or even lose it like that. That's even better. That's a dead end. To the right here. Okay, we found the stairs. Let's go. Yes. No save and quit. Or no, well, QS is quick save, but it's kind of the same idea. So we're not RNG manipulating in it. Like, we can technically save the game, and it would be okay if I reset. I just can't do quick saves in dungeons. What do the green squares do? Which green squares? The one with the arrows on it? Oh, by the way, what we just encountered, that weird room in the middle, that's a mid-floor. Most of the dungeons past this point have those kind of floors. Essentially what they do is they just heal you to full and give you like, it basically sets you to like as if you were about to enter the dungeon again. Okay. Pretty long floor. Mount Thunder Peak is pretty short overall. It's 3 floors, I believe. In the Manip run, we do manipulate this, but that's really only so that we can RNG manipulate the Zapdos fight here. This is honestly, like in the Manip run, this is one of the coolest fights to do, because you make him get 2 speed drops. Yeah, here the strat is a little bit different. We have Skitty, and Skitty is very broken for boss fights, and this is the first time we're really going to see how broken Skitty gets. 1 step to the right, I'm going to use Attract. And the moment that we use Attract, this fight is pretty much over. Zapdos currently cannot do anything. Every turn you're going to get that Zapdos is infatuated. We're just going to drop his defenses and keep attacking until he dies. Another attack from Squirtle. Okay, he got over his infatuation, so now he actually becomes threatening. But I can use another Attract and stop him again. He used Agility, which means that he's going to get 2 turns every single turn. But we should be close enough to a kill that it doesn't matter. At least I hope. And that's the boss. In the Manip run, we actually have Meowth and several Frustration TMs to deal with the bosses. So there we just use Frustration over and over. Yeah, we've calmed down Zapdos with that fighting. And he's going to fly off and leave us the Shift Tree so that we can take him back home. So yeah, Shift Tree is alright. And with the help of the Charizard, Alakazam, and Tyranitar, we're now going to go back into Pokemon Square. We are going to get a little bit of information, though. Alakazam and the others here learned that Skitty is a human, not a Pokemon. Alakazam kind of knew there was something off, but he didn't exactly know what it was. But he doesn't have the knowledge beyond that. So what he suggests doing is that we go see a Pokemon named Xatu at the Hill of the Ancients. Xatu there might actually be able to help us further. So Alakazam does mention that there's something that he's worried about, but it's best to leave unspoken for now. So Squirtle mentions that the Hill of the Ancients is past the Grand Canyon. So we're going to use a few dialogue boxes here. And use the first, then the first, and the second. That's the fastest way to get through the text. I don't like having to go into town right now, but I kind of have to. Because we still don't have all the missions we need. Oh, we also don't have any room in our... Actually, I know how we're going to deal with that. These are going to sell for a lot of money. And hopefully he actually has some revivers. None again. So this is kind of annoying. The Kecleon has not had a lot of reviver seeds for us. Okay, we got the Tiny Woods Floor 2 mission at least. Next stop, the Great Canyon. We now have all of the missions, so we can actually see what it's like. I should have linked Bubble, or a Water Gun as well. I can do it after the dungeon, though. I gotta really remember that I have to get Double Slap and then Link moves after this dungeon, because if I forget, it becomes very bad. And there goes a Reviver Seed. That one was my mistake. I accidentally pressed BA instead of B right, then A. I've dealt with this part with fewer revivers before, but we're generally in a fairly bad shape right now. Especially not having either of the 2 bans yet. Speaking of, there's one of them. Okay, let's see. So far, so good. This is a pretty lengthy floor. We kind of have to get level 15 because that gives us access to Double Slap, which is our next really powerful move. I'm seeing a Max Elixir. I'm tempted to pick it up, even though we really don't need that many more. We're pretty good in terms of Max Elixirs right now. Okay, there's Double Slap. We're going to get rid of Growl. We don't really have any need for that anymore. Double Slap is one of the most broken moves in the game. Okay, there we go. These have been decent floors so far, save for the first one. A couple of quick floors there, that's always nice. So this is where you pretty much instantly get to see the power of that power band. We just go from dealing about 30 damage to about 50 damage. And that's going to make a huge difference over the course of the run. Just because we're able to defeat enemies a lot faster. Oh boy, this is... okay, you know what? Use. I don't want to deal with this right now. I don't know if it was the correct place to use it. I might have wanted to keep that for a monster house for later on, but I did not want to... And there's the Ariados anyway. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to set this. Gives me a bit of a better chance to one-shot things. There's a Heracross with a special band. I'm kind of hoping that we get to see this Heracross. Because I kind of still need that special band for Squirtle. It's not the end of the world if we don't get it, but it would be quite helpful. That was not the correct Heracross. That's unfortunate. I could have gone straight for the stairs, but knowing that there was a Heracross with a special band, I figured I'd at least check. Nice, we got another special band here. So we're going to give that to Squirtle, and that pretty much means that we're done in that sense. We have the equipment that we need at least. Now I just need a lot more Reviver Seeds than we currently have. And preferably, we're going to try to get through these floors a bit faster. Okay, there's the stairs. Let's go. Floor 12. Just as a reference, by the way, how much better that dungeon went. I didn't have to eat any food items, whereas in Mount Thunder I had to do so by floor 7, which just shows how very different dungeons can go. Because this one's longer than Mount Thunder, not by much, but it's a bit longer. See, Azatu here, he's not going to respond at all. Like, he's just staring into the sun like that. But we need his help. So Squirtle asks us how we're going to get his attention, and we get two options. We can either tickle him or attack him. Attacking is significantly faster here, so we're going to attack the Xatu. So Squirtle is a bit scared because, you know, this is this legendary kind of Pokemon that's supposed to know everything, and then Squirtle counts down from 3, and then as he is about to attack, Xatu actually decides to talk to us. He immediately notices that we have, or that Skitty is a human. And we tell Xatu that we're here to get more information. He does mention that the disasters that have been happening are tied together with us turning into a Pokemon. Xatu mentions that the world's balance is, or that the world is out of balance, and if it doesn't get restored, then the unthinkable will happen. Gengar hears this, finds this quite interesting. So yeah, it's safe to say Gengar is gonna cause some commotion because of this. Yeah, we're gonna go into Pokemon Square. I really need to remember to link my moves, very important. If I forget that here, then that's a bit of an issue. I'm also going to check for Reviver Seeds because we've been losing a fair few of those. I only have 3 left. I've had runs where I had 0 at this point and still made it work, but... Ooh, he sells 2. Let's go. We actually got a good Keck Shop. That's a new one. Okay, so we're up to 5 now. That's much better. As we get to Pokemon Square, we see Lombre, Bellsprout, and Snubbletalk. Wishcash has been talking about a legend. The Ninetales legend. Now, we, of course, don't know anything about it, and they mentioned something about somebody being cursed after touching the tails of a Ninetales. Wishcash has the entire story, though, so we can go to the pond and talk to him if we want to know more. First, very important that I said I wasn't going to forget, and I didn't forget. Let's link some moves. And link. This is pretty much the moveset that we're going to be using for the entire remainder of the game. The marking multiple items when buying and selling isn't a thing until the second Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. It's a quality of life change that they did to Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time, Darkness, and Sky, but it's not actually a thing in Blue Rescue Team. So yeah, Wishcash basically mentions that, according to legend, a human touched the tails of a Ninetales and got cursed and turned into a Pokemon. It's just some ancient folklore, and of course this obviously isn't true, but it leaves us a little bit questioning about what's been going on, because we know we are a Pokemon, we know it's tied to these natural disasters, and apparently it's tied to a curse of with Ninetales or something. That's bad news right here. Yeah, in the item bank it's a thing, but not in the shop. So yeah, we decided to just call it a day, not really do anything this time around. And that night, we have a dream, similar to the dreams we've had a few times now. And Gardevoir shows up once again. And this time, we actually hear the voice of Gardevoir. Now, in that legend about the human touching the Ninetales' tails, it's also mentioned that a Gardevoir, I believe, shielded the human from the curse. Like, the human still turned into a Pokemon as a result, but yeah, because of the shielding from Gardevoir, like, it kind of took the human's place, and the human then turned into a Pokemon or something. But then we dream, and we learn that the Pokemon that's been talking to us in our dreams is actually Gardevoir. So that's kind of a thing. So then we go into Pokemon Square, and there's a lot of commotion here. as Pokemon have been okay, hold on. I don't know whose Steam is open, but I'm gonna close that so that we don't get those things anymore. But yeah, in any case, all of the Pokemon are gathered in the square, and Gengar right here, he's telling us what he's learned, and it's not very good for us. So yeah, Gengar knows that Skitty is a human. He talks about how he went up to the Hill of the Ancients and about a Pokemon seeking advice from Xatu because he was a human. And Xatu mentioned that the world's balance being upset has to do with that Pokemon. And that the unthinkable is going to happen if it's not stopped. But Gengar has a solution. If the human is gone, then therefore the disaster should stop and all should be well. And then he mentions that it's Skitty. Now, we already know that we've met Gardevoir, the same Gardevoir, so we're suspecting that we have a role in this. All of this is at least partially true, or at least there's something that we have to do with it. So we don't really have an answer as to whether or why we would not be that human. So all the Pokemon start chasing us down. So we're just gonna go through some text here. And we explain to Squirtle that we've been seeing Gardevoir in our dream. Now, Squirtle still believes in us. He feels like just because we saw Gardevoir in our dreams does not mean we're that human. The rest of the town, however, they've come to the conclusion that we must be that human, and therefore we must be destroyed. Alakazam, however, because of all of the work we've done, will give us a head start. We get one night to pack our stuff and leave. Run as far as our legs will carry us. They will be chasing us, and they will be trying to kill us. But they will give us that chance to find the truth. Essentially, the reason for that is just Alakazam somewhere believes that there might be a chance that we are not that human. So he's going to give us this one opportunity. Caterpie also believes in us. So we decide, okay, you know what? We're not going to give up. We're going to do this. We're going to pack our stuff, and at first light, we're going to be moving out in search of the truth. So we could go into town, but going into town is pretty slow, so we don't want to do that. And we have enough revivers, so we're just going to go right away. And so we run. Our job right now is just to run and survive, find the truth, and hopefully be able to return one day. Caterpie, Metapod, the Diglett and Ductrio, Jumpluffs, they all come in and support us to see us off. As does Pelipper. They believe that we might not be that human, and that really at the end of the day we're not the bad guys. So yeah, Squirtle gets all emotional because of the Pokemon around here defending us. And so we go. Our journey begins over mountains. There's giant cracks in the floor, forests that are ablaze. This is really where you can see that nature is completely out of control at this point. But we just marched on. And at some point we get to a cave here, Lapis Cave. That's going to be our first stop. This is pretty much the longest dungeon up to this point, but all of the floors are generally really short. So much so that I've done this dungeon faster without Manip than I have done it with Manip, which says quite a lot. Like, my PB's dungeon is in no quick save, no wonder mill, is actually faster than it is in my with quick save. So it is one of those dungeons where it's pretty likely you'll see stair floors. We'll see if we get lucky with that today. Nothing too good so far, which is a bit unfortunate. Of course, the literal last pathway pretty much that was left. Okay, floor 3. Okay, the level ups from here on don't matter as much anymore. We still need the stats. They will help us survive by a lot. But other than that, they're not really going to do much for us anymore. We have all of the moves that we need from here until the end. So, in that sense, we're good at least. Host, if there's anything you want to talk about, might as well while we go through this dungeon.
Alright, we do indeed have a new donation. We have $20 by Anonymous, and the comment says, Squirtle is so cute. I would also like to remind you of the upcoming bid war for Plants vs. Zombies. You can choose the map, and currently in the lead is still Z-Tech Factory by $5, leading over Aqua Center.
Okay. I'm not going to pick up the Max Elixir. I have plenty of those. Okay, we've been going through the floors reasonably quickly. We still have a few left, though. We're definitely not quite there. Here we go, floor 11. Generally speaking, the Pokemon we find in this dungeon aren't really that difficult to fight. There are a few that are a bit tanky, but overall they're all pretty easy. Especially if we get a crit like that. We have the advantage of having both the Power Band and Special Band already, so it's not like we have to worry about that part anymore either. Floor 13. There we go. We're almost through. I believe this is the last floor that we actually have to go through as well, so just gotta get to the stairs here. Okay, there we go. We're out of Lapis Cave. So Squirtle is like, where are the Pokemon chasing us? But we pretty much hear them coming, so we're going to keep running. Because they're closing in on us. And then, not too much further, we see the next dungeon that we're going to have to go through, Mount Blaze. Mount Blaze is a massive, massive volcano that we have to go through, and at the top there's Moltres. A lot of Pokemon are going to stop chasing us here because, well, let's be real here. This is a very, very dangerous dungeon for a lot of Pokemon. It's not one of those places that most teams take easy. But yeah, that gives us all the more opportunity to actually just go through it and hopefully be able to shake off some of the Pokemon that are chasing us. I'm going to get rid of the Sleep Seed, and we're going to head in. Yo, Imago, thank you. Okay, Mount Blaze, first floor. Here we go. The bands aren't really needed anymore. We already have all of the ones that I would need, and we have plenty of money to work with as well. There's a few things, however, that I do have to pay a close eye to. This is a dungeon where it's not unlikely that our belly is going to run low, so I might actually need some apples at some point. But more importantly, if my moves start to run low, that can actually become an issue as well. If you ever have any of your linked moves drop to 0 power points, or all of the moves that you have linked get delinked instantly. When that happens, we essentially go from being able to deal like up to 6 hits a turn to pretty much not being able to do anything any turn anymore. So it's really something we want to avoid. The only reason, by the way, that I'm checking those TMs is because if it happens to have Frustration, it can be a nice boost for Squirtle. It's incredibly unlikely, but that would be kind of helpful still. Though that's pretty much the only one. Also, I just noticed I made a small mistake in my Link moves. It probably isn't going to matter, but ideally I would have had Bubble as the last one, so that if there is a Pokemon behind the Pokemon we kill and Bubble is still a thing, then we could use that to defeat another Pokemon, or potentially defeat another Pokemon with it. It's incredibly rare that it actually matters, but it is a thing that can matter. Okay, I didn't see anything useful in that Kecleon shop there, so we're gonna just ignore it. There were some apples there, but that's really about it. Now, while I make my way through the dungeon, something I'm going to mention that again towards the end of the run somewhere probably, but if you like Pokemon runs like this, you know, be sure to also head over to my channel and drop a follow. I run pretty much all Pokemon games, save for Gen 6 and 7, which I'm going to be learning soon, so... you know, if you like Pokemon speedruns, always greatly appreciate that. Okay, so far so good. Mount Blaze, 9th floor. Okay, I've seen the stairs, but I need to go the long way around to actually reach it. At least we know where they are, though. Yeah, I'm definitely excited for the new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. It's going to be interesting to see how many, or what's similar, what's different. And then on top of that, I am planning to pick up the speedrun once I've beaten it casually. It should be a blast, honestly. I've run Battle Revolution, yes. Even Battle Revolution. I've only run it like 3 times. Okay, we just lost a Reviver. Yeah, I've only done like 3 runs of it, but yeah, I've run it before. For sure, Nepu. UKSG has been a lot of fun so far. Definitely recommend, like if there's anyone in the chat from the UK, definitely recommend attending their next event. It's really fun here. Okay, unfortunately we died pretty close to the midpoint, which means we're now down to 4 revivers, which is still more than I have on average. On average, you want to have at least like 2, but I can make this work quite easily. There are still going to be Pokemon that can easily kill us, but it just means that I have more than average in terms of backup heal items. So that's just, it's nice to have, you know. Okay, up to the Mount Blaze peak. We've now passed the midpoint. So this is where we're just going to try to see how fast we can go through this. The peak is generally not a very dangerous area. If you get a few stair floors, it can go really quickly because it's not that many floors. Moltres isn't that difficult to fight in this run. The only real threat here are these Pokemon, the Fearos. Fearow has Fury Attack, which can definitely do a lot of damage. So that's always one to watch out for. Okay, there we go. We made it to the top. This is where Moltres is going to be at. There's a lot of fire here. A lot of lava. We kind of have a hunch that it has something to do with all the natural disasters. We don't know the details about it, of course, but as soon as we try to pass, it turns a bit dark and Moltres comes flying down. We cannot evolve Skitty until the post-game. What's my favorite Pokemon game to speedrun? Main series, Pokemon Gold, side games, probably Explorers of Time. Okay, so we're going to use Attract here, make sure that the Moltres can't really do anything, and then we're just going to whittle his health down as fast as we can. In the any % run, it's impossible to swap partner. In all other categories, we do actually swap. In all icons, you swap to Articuno, then Alakazam. In Recruit Them All, you swap to Articuno. Also, actually, yeah, just that. Articuno, then Alakazam as well, I believe. So it's kind of the same idea. I'm playing on a DS computer game. This is the DS I'm playing on right now. But yeah, we defeat Moltres. We convince him that we are not. We're just passing through. We just have to get to the other side. We're not here to disturb him. Moltres asks us to figure out what is causing the calamities and hopefully help stop that. So we make the promise that we're gonna look for what's causing this. Yeah, he then, once convinced, is gonna fly away, and we can move on again. So we've made it past Mount Blaze. We've covered a lot of ground here. And Squirtle is like, there's got to be... We've got to lost them, right? We have to be safe at this point, right? But let's be real here. That's not how it works. There's bound to be teams that have made it past Mount Blaze. If only Alakazam, even at best, it's only Alakazam's team, but there's definitely at least that team that's made it this far. So we gotta keep walking. We gotta make sure that we keep just covering our ground, find out the truth like we promised we would. So eventually we go from all the flaming areas at Mount Blaze to the frosty snowlands. It's temperature has dropped a lot, and there's snow everywhere. We also meet a Pokemon that we only see briefly here. He's gonna run off pretty much immediately. Absol. And Squirtle wonders what Absol is doing in a lonely place like this. Now, legend has it, in the main series at least, that Absol supposedly shows up just before disasters strike. And with all the calamities, it's not too weird that he would be around here. We're going to drop a few items. I don't have any need for that Plain Seed. I'm not going to use Secret Power. And with that, we're just going to move on into the Frosty Forest. The Frosty Forest is a bit safer, generally speaking, but there are still Pokemon that can hurt us. So we're just going to hope not to see any of those. There's I don't remember which Pokemon has it, but there's one Pokemon around here that has Fury Attack, which, just like how Double Slap is overpowered, is another one of those really powerful moves that can pretty much just one-shot half my party. These Azuruls are really not a threat. Most of the time they just use Splash, which essentially means you're just going to move to a different tile. Okay, so far so good. Okay, nothing. I want to... Yeah, okay. It's highly unlikely that we're going to find a TM that's actually worth picking up. But there is a TM that is, so I kind of wanted to keep an eye out for it at least. Okay, we found the stairs. We just have to deal with this turret real quick. Shouldn't be too difficult. Frosty Forest, generally speaking, doesn't really have a lot of things. Oh, this is actually kind of an interesting bit of dialogue here. Something I haven't mentioned, but going through the text in this game is actually really easy. You can hold B to go through the text frame perfectly, with the exception of that dialogue box right there. That's like the only one we kind of have to just mash through. That's also, like, that's a thing in all Mystery Dungeon games, and it actually makes the speedruns of them really comfortable. Even in the later Mystery Dungeons, where text goes quite slowly, it's not really a big deal, simply because we can just hold B. Or, if you're in need of a break, you just put something heavy on the B button and just get up. Like, you can actually do that in the Mystery Dungeon runs, which is really convenient a lot of the time. Get past Leiron. We get the level up here. That's okay. We're a bit low health still, but we should be okay from here. Ninth floor. We're getting fairly close to the midpoint. The second part here is a bit bigger. Okay, there we go. This time it's like earlier we always had past the midpoint being like 2 floors then the boss. This time the boss is going to be on the 5th floor, so we actually have a few more floors to cover. That can both be like normally, most of the time, like it's not really a big deal, but it can actually be kind of painful, because if we have to defeat a lot of enemies before we get to the boss, our power points can potentially get really low, which could be a problem with the bosses, considering pretty much every boss has pressure, which means that our PP usage doubles. That was a really good second half of Frosty Grotto, though. Like, that Frosty Grotto was just really, really solid. It was donated for. I don't know what the Squirtle's name is based off of. It's not a reference that I'm aware about, at least. So yeah, as we get to the top, Articuno shows up, the last of the 3 legendary birds. And yeah, he's just going to attack us. We're going to chuck a Graveler Rock, use Attract, and then similar strats to before, we're just going to try to whittle down his health while the Articuno is completely unable to do anything. No WM stands for no Wonder Mail, meaning I can't Wonder Mail in missions to get me very specific items. No QS means no Quick Save, meaning I cannot Quick Save at the start of a dungeon to manipulate every single floor. With Quick Saves, you can RNG manipulate all of the dungeons and pretty much go through it significantly faster. So Articuno mentions that the forest has been warming, and like he doesn't understand why, but lately it's been getting warmer and warmer. Squirtle mentions that there's been natural disasters all over the place, and that we are not the cause of this. Then when Articuno decides to attack us again, Absol jumps in and confirms that there are indeed natural disasters across the world. Articuno has us make a promise here that we're going to figure out what's causing this and solve it. He's counting on us for that. So yeah, Absol here, he's going to join the party. He figures, you know what? If we're gonna have any chance, I'm gonna have to join here. It's your best shot. And so we move on. Just going further north, and like the further north we get, the worse the conditions are gonna be. It's gonna get colder and colder. There's blizzards and snowstorms all around. We've walked for a long time at this point, and it's quite draining on everybody. Squirtle is pretty much ready to give up, as if we're almost like because at this point we're not gonna find anything, right? But Skitty reconfirms to Squirtle, you know, it'll be okay. We'll figure something out. And right then and there, we kind of have a dream of sorts, but now while awake. And the Gardevoir shows up. None of the other Pokemon can hear Gardevoir, but we can. So Skitty kind of has to explain to them that that's what's going on. The Gardevoir tells us that Ninetales lives at the peak of Mount Freeze, and we just have to keep going. Because if you know, that will tell the truth. If anything is to be believed, right? Like, it's the Ninetales itself. They should know whether we're the one who were cursed or not. Okay, Reviver seeds in Mount Freeze are relatively common, so I'm actually going to try and check most of the seeds that we come across, hoping to find some additional Reviver seeds. It's no guarantee that we'll find any, but we're going to try at least. Before we go in, however, we now have Absol in the team, and we're going to put him on standby. It's required to have Absol in the second half of the dungeon, but in the first half of the dungeon, it's not required. You can actually just get rid of him like that. So that's just one less Pokemon that would you know, destroy our seeds. And so we're going to go through Mount Freeze. It's a decently lengthy dungeon, though. All of the floors are generally pretty big. There aren't really that many enemies that can really form a threat. Like, Mount Freeze is not that dangerous a dungeon, especially in comparison to the earlier ones that we've had to go through. So, yeah, if you have anything to plug, go ahead.
We don't have any donations right now, but I would just like everyone to remind that we are raising money to support Young Minds, a charity leading the fight for a future where all young minds are supported and empowered, whatever the challenges. Your donations help them to make sure young people get the best possible mental health support and have the resilience to overcome life's difficulties. Some of Young Minds' key strategic aims are to foster innovation to meet the needs of vulnerable and excluded children and young people, promote good mental health to more children and young people than ever before, and champion the voices of young people and parents to influence mental health policy and practice. Thank you for all your donations. I would also like to remind of the upcoming Bit War for Plants vs. Zombies, a run which is coming up in just about 2-3 hours. And currently Z-Tech Factory is still in the lead over Aqua Center by $5.
Okay, we've got the stairs over here. We're making decent progress. So far, this has been a pretty alright Mount Freeze. Uproar doesn't really do anything, so I'm not too worried. Essentially, all it does is it wakes up every Pokemon in the room, but there are no other Pokemon in the room, so I don't have to worry about those. Okay, there we go. Squirtle's gonna try and take care of the Zangoose. Hopefully he's strong enough here. I'll grab the apple. That's actually one of the resources I'm kind of low on, by comparison at least. So it's probably not a bad thing to get a few extras. I've been kind of ignoring my food supplies and mostly been focusing on things like Reviver Seeds and Max Elixirs. But if we can prevent dying, that's still good, you know? That still works. Okay, this is kind of annoying because I think we're just kind of have to defeat both of these. Of course, he's going to use Uproar, which means we even have to wait here. Okay, we still have 8 power points. Should be okay, honestly, because we are getting reasonably close to the midpoint. I'd like to find the stairs, though. This is one of those really nasty floors that you just sometimes get, where there is a lot of small rooms, and it can be really hard to find the stairs at that point. It's not the worst kind of layout, but it can be kind of bad. So we're getting hungry, but I think we might still be able to make it to the midpoint without needing to consume an apple. We may also have to consume an apple. We'll see what happens. No need for us to get assist. Kind of a useless move, honestly. We're gonna need a stair floor or something, though. Or at least a quick floor. So I think we're gonna just have to eat that apple. Yeah, I did. You can. I did. I didn't trust the amount of health we had left. It was too likely that we were going to run out. It's not terrible to eat an apple after running out, and sometimes it can be a strategic play to just try and see if you can make it to the end. But more often than not, it's not worth it, because as soon as you run out, extra text boxes will open up. Also, I'm going to have to have Squirtle do most of the remaining fighting, because I am pretty much out of power points completely. I can attack one more Pokemon, and then I cannot attack from there, otherwise my moves will get delinked. Okay, so that's 2 back-to-back dead ends. That's kind of annoying. So this is where I'm just gonna let Squirtle do the fighting. It's too likely that I won't have the power points I need. This is the last floor, so I can use it if I need to. Which we're gonna do with the Seviper, otherwise I'm probably dead. But I cannot attack anything else without risking a whole lot of pain past this point. It's tempting to pick up that Max Elixir. Like, I could consume that and instantly have my power points back and actually be able to attack, but then we're also almost at the end of this. There we go. So I didn't... I guess it was a good thing that I didn't. Okay, so from here on, Absol's going to join again. I should set his IQ. Dedicated Traveler, exclusive move user. And moving on. Okay, so we got slowed by the Icy Wind, which is why I switched to the Squirtle there. Because if I wouldn't kill it, it would get 2 attacks off on me, and I was already getting a little bit low on health. This peak, by the way, is a little bit bigger again. I believe it's 6 floors, and then we actually get to the Pokemon that we're here for, the Ninetales. Okay, double teams are fine. 3rd floor. And after that, we're kind of gonna get the calm before the storm, so to speak. And we're also gonna get probably my favorite to see in this run. Oh, it is 5th floor. I thought it was 7th for some reason. Must be a different dungeon then. Whatever. As we get to the peak, Alakazam, Tyranitar, and Charizard have finally caught up to us. And this is where we're going to have to fight it out. There is no way to escape anymore. And so the battle commences. Skitty and Alakazam just go at it like that. And then midway through our battle, Ninetales jumps in. The actual Ninetales from the legend. And Ninetales tells us that it is not Skitty who did this. Skitty is not the human who was cursed. The human does exist, the legend is real, and we actually know the Pokemon that got cursed. It gets revealed in the post-game, but it's not us. We have nothing to do with that. So yeah, we're free. We've confirmed that we are indeed not the Pokemon to have caused all of this. We're still, like, there's still something we have to do in regards to these natural disasters. We don't know exactly what, but we're good. It's Gengar, Basketball. The Gengar that we've been talking about, like the leader of Team Nini, he is actually a human turned into a Pokemon. And he knew this, so he's been misleading everybody, because he knew who the actual Pokemon from the legend is. But yeah, at that point, a massive earthquake starts to happen, and we realize that this is the doing of Groudon. Squirtle and Skitty suggest that we're going to go to Groudon to figure out what's happened and to stop these earthquakes. But Gengar stops us and is like, no, dude. You've been at this long enough. We've got this. So yeah, Gengar is just spreading lies in the town here. At this point, we know that they've all been lies, but he's still going for it. But yeah, then Medicham comes running in and tells that we're back. Skitty is back. And everybody's actually kind of happy to see us. At this point, we know that we're not the human from the legend. And Squirtle gets angry at Gengar for spreading lies like that. We tell them that we've found the Ninetales, and Ninetales confirm to us that we are not the human from the legend. Gengar, however, is like, you don't have any proof for this. Well, no, we don't. This is true. But then when Gengar commands the other Pokemon to attack us again, they kind of just don't. They believe that we're telling the truth. We were convincing enough. So the other Pokemon kind of have enough of Gengar's shenanigans. He's been lying about stuff. And then Pelipper flies in with a special edition of the Pokemon News, which actually confirms that we met Ninetales under the watchful eye of Alakazam, because now he actually, like, we learn that Alakazam was there. They'll be able to confirm it once Alakazam gets back. So, yeah, Gengar's, we now have enough proof to convince everybody that we were not lying. And everybody starts chasing Gengar. So time for us to get some rest. It's well deserved, I'd say. So heading out, we're gonna meet up with Squirtle again, and it's time to do some more missions. We've not really been doing a lot of missions for some time, but it's time for us to get back to that. We're gonna start doing the 3 Thunder Wave Cave missions. That's going to be our first stop, and that'll trigger the next set. So take all 3 of those. Now at this point, the dungeons are going to be easy enough that I can just use my my base attacks to defeat enemies. Like at this point, nothing really scares us here anymore. We've gone through Mount Freeze and whatnot, so we're quite a bit higher level than we were first time we got here. Not everything necessarily dies in one hit, but almost everything does, so... Okay, third floor, this is where our first Pokemon is going to be that we need to save. We're going to deal with these two first, just make sure that they're not going to bug us anymore. And let's try and find that client of ours. There he is, there's the Spearow. You're still going to see a lot of early game Pokemon here. The Pokemon in the mission can pretty much be any Pokemon. But the ones you find on the board and then get in your mail are only Pokemon you'll have seen by the time you got that mission. In this version specifically, there are 5 Pokemon that you cannot see from a regular mission like that you have to Wonder Mail in. So the Recruit Them All, there's actually, like with Recruit Them All, there's a few different categories for that, similar to this. One of which is no quick save, no Wonder Mail, but it's actually like no quick save, minimum Wonder Mail. They allow 5 very specific codes to get the version exclusives. Those 5 Pokemon are the version exclusives between this one and Red Rescue Team. And they're basically all missions that don't really do anything for us. They don't give us any rewards. They just unlock those 5 Pokemon. Make sure that we can recruit them elsewhere. Nope. Yes, we go out. Yes, I want to leave. There we go. Okay. Gonna get our rewards here. I don't believe there were any particularly interesting rewards. We might get a Reviver Seed. That'd be kind of cool, but it's not too likely. The Max Elixirs are nice, but they're just going to get deposited in our box. It's whatever. So the day passes, and this is enough for us to trigger the next cutscene where we're going to get another dream with the Gardevoir. Now, as we wake up, we're going to get a quest from one of my favorite Pokemon, and if you have any salute emotes of sorts, get them ready. If you don't, 07 works too, because there is going to be a particular Pokemon that's always great in this game. But yeah, we meet Gardevoir, and Gardevoir mentions that he doesn't hate his trainer. Sure, the trainer has done some awful things, but Gardevoir was happy to protect them, even at the cost of his own life. Yeah, just get them ready. We're going to use them in a moment. You'll see why. Just make sure to have them ready. Okay, so we wake up because of another earthquake. And Gardevoir, during the dream, mentioned that we're here for a certain role. There's something we need to do. Okay, chat, here we go. We get to talk to Squirtle here. He mentions, you know, we get to hear about the Groudon and how Alakazam is down there. Then as we head out, we get greeted by 2 Pokemon. Why not a Wobbuffet? Wobbuffet! And he's gonna salute every time that he talks, and it's great. I love that Wobbuffet so much. So yeah, they ask us to go and look on the bulletin board because they left a mission there. Before we actually go there, though, I am gonna check the Keck shop first. Is there anything I can get? I'm gonna get rid of an Oron Berry, I think. Just so I can buy an extra Reviver Seed if he has any. He has 1, that's good. I'm also going to get rid of an apple, which might sound a bit counterintuitive, but I'm going to use that to buy a big apple, or a huge apple. Okay, there we go. Now onto the bulletin board where the mission from Why Not and Wobbuffet is going to be at. It just says punish Bad Mankey. And get your salutes ready because here we go again. Wobbuffet. And just every time he talks, it's so cool. I love that thing too much. But yeah, they give us a mission where we have to go to Uproar Forest, and on the 10th floor there's some Mankeys that he wants us to fight. There is actually one very important thing on this dungeon though. Hold on, I'm gonna actually deposit a few items. 2 of those, I'm gonna deposit that. That should be enough. See, in order to progress the game more, I need to find 2 chestnuts, and they only spawn on the 9th floor of Uproar Forest. We need 3 in total. We get 1 as a reward from the mission. The other 2, we're just going to have to hope we get them. It is possible that we get both chestnuts as we go through this dungeon the time we have to. That is very, very possible, and it's happened a fair few times. It is also possible, and luckily this is incredibly unlikely, but I have had runs where this has happened. It's also possible that 0 spawn. And if 0 spawns, that essentially means I just have to go through the dungeon again, hope for 2 to spawn the next time, because if that happens enough, that's just, yeah, it's just done, you know? Most of the time, at least 1 will spawn. 1 is the most common scenario, and usually what that basically boils down to is we go through the dungeon, we grab the chestnut, we go through the dungeon again, and we just go back in. Getting the famous double chestnut, it saves at least, and this is bare minimum, at least 3 minutes. Usually it's closer to like 5 to 6 minutes. So it saves a lot of time. Also on floors 3 and 6 or 7, one of the 2, I'm not entirely sure, there is a random weather effect. Some of the weather effects are not important at all. Some of them are really annoying. We'll see what happens. Oh yeah, Shiki. It's definitely not impossible for it to happen. Last time I ran no Wonder Mail, no quick save, I actually got the 0 chestnut for the first time in an any percent run. There are runners that have done hundreds of runs and not seen 0 chestnut once. There are runners that have done 5 and have seen it. That's just a thing. And it's complete random. If I get 0 chestnuts, I will RNG manipulate the second time we go through the dungeon, which is going to invalidate this run even more than it already is, but that's just for the sake of making sure we can actually meet the estimate. Because getting 0 usually loses about at least 10 minutes on average compared to a double chestnut run. It's the kind of situation where the notes literally say, if you get 0 chestnuts, consider resetting. Wonder Mail is a thing that you can do while in the menu, where you can pretty much code in specific missions with exactly the floor kind of mission, reward, like everything that you would want you can do. In the quick save plus Wonder Mail run, so the full like unrestricted run, they use that to code in a few warp seeds, which is really useful, as well as a warp scarf, not warp seed, warp scarf, as well as some frustration TMs, which is just, it's a powerful move to use. Okay, so the C-Dot got infatuated. That's nice for us. I'll have Squirtle deal with that Mankey. Should be okay. Mobile Scarf, I believe, is only in No, Mobile Scarf is only in Sky with Wondermill. It's not worth it in this since you RNG manipulate every floor, except for the first one. So Mobile Scarf is just not worth it. Okay, so this is it. This is the moment of truth. We're gonna see if we can find a chestnut. Okay, I am gonna just use a Max Elixir. I'm not gonna risk it. There's three Pokemon we have to kill on floor 10, so. Oh yeah, in unrestricted, recruit them all. That's a thing, but in okay, there's at least one chestnut. We didn't get a 0 chest. It's being held by a Mankey, which means we're just gonna have to kill Mankeys until we find it. But we know there's at least one chestnut now. There it is. Okay, that's one. We're gonna have to see if there's a second one by any chance. I'm gonna look for it. It's not very likely, but we're gonna look for it. Pretty sure that doesn't lead anywhere. Nope, nope. This is just a one chestnut. So this is the most common situation where we just get one. Which means we're gonna have to go through this dungeon a second time. That's this is relatively common. Yeah, we get to the end and we meet a few Mankeys here. They're gonna just attack us. This is probably the easiest quote-unquote boss fight in the game. That is the entire fight. It's pretty free. So yeah, we defeat the Mankeys, and we get to meet with Wynot and Wobbuffet again. So feel free to do some more salutes, because we're going to see Wobbuffet do a few more here. As a reward, they're going to get us a peeled chestnut. This is the second one. We need 3 in total. But yeah, it's kind of a lousy reward for beating up a few Mankeys. And yeah, the Mankeys are not happy that we did this. So they came to our base and decided to just pulverize us. But then they see we have a chestnut, and they really, really like chestnuts. So they're gonna have a discussion here, and they ask if they can have that chestnut. They tell us that chestnuts they're spiky, and whenever they try to pick them up, it hurts their hands, and that gets them angry. And, you know, Mankeys are just quick to get angry, essentially. We mentioned that, you know, a while back, like over an hour ago at this point, I think, we were talking about how they made the plan to redo the rescue team base. Why not Wobbuffet and these Mankeys? They're going to help along. And that's how they're going to pay for the work that we've done. So yeah, construction well underway. We kind of hit a halt here. We're initially quite happy with the progress, but there's a lot left to do. And the Mankeys, they're done. Like they're just not. They just don't want to help anymore. It's a lot of work. It's not worth it for that one chestnut. Work's boring. They just don't want to do it. So we convinced them that for more peeled chestnuts, they'll help out. But we gotta find some more peeled chestnuts first. So here we go. We're just gonna go to them. We're gonna give them that first chestnut because we do already have one. And then we're gonna just have to go into the dungeon again. Hope that we find another one. So they get motivated. We make some more progress. It gets a little bit closer to finishing, but we're not quite done. And now we have to go look for another one. So just like before, we need to go all the way to floor 9 to be able to find one. This time there's not a boss at the end that I have to worry about at least, so there's at least that. But we do have to go all the way down to floor 9 to even be able to find any chestnuts at all. There is no chance for a mission reward to be chestnuts, no. You could Wonder Mill chestnuts in. I believe that's possible, but that's really the only thing. And it's not worth it to go for it, just because of how incredibly... Or, well, no, it's a no Wonder Mill run anyway, so it wouldn't even be allowed. So yeah, the double chestnut, it's a rare phenomenon, but hopefully we'll be able to find it. So I'm gonna have just have the Squirtle take care of this. Try and conserve some power points here and there. Okay, that was a pretty bad second floor. We got an anti-stair floor there, but luckily we got a stairs floor on the third one, so we can just instantly move on to the fourth. So far, so good. Okay, Confusion does have a chance to confuse us, so that's always something to worry about. Confusion is kind of broken in this game, and it can really hurt me a lot. I'm gonna just eat the gummy here, restore my stamina a little bit at least. Check out this side, because we still haven't found it yet. Unfortunately, because this is such a long floor now, we've had to kill a lot of enemies. And that's just never good to see, because it drains our power points a lot. I have some max elixirs spare now at Kangaskhan, but I'd really prefer not to have to pick that up, because picking those up again is slow. Okay, floor 8. We're almost there. Let's see if we can get a chestnut now. We just need one this time. So I'm not going to worry too much about that 20 damage at this point. I just need to get to the stairs. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can get that that item. It's looking like a big floor. That doesn't have to mean anything at all. Okay, chestnut. Let's go. We got one. So at this point, we know that we're good to go in terms of the chestnuts. We won't have to go in here a third time at least. Just have to get to the stairs, and then we'll be back, and we're good to move on. Okay, that was a bit of a struggle, but we got through it in the end. We've gotten our double chestnut. We can move on again. So we're going to call it a night here. This is, you know, we've gone through a hard day's work, and on the next day we're going to give the chestnut to the Mankey and get our base finished. Because like the base that you get kind of depends on which starter you have. So there's so many different kind of bases that you can get. In the manipulated run, we actually get a Meowth base, and that one's really creepy. The skitty base looks kind of cool, though. So this is the new ESA's rescue base. Now, the Mankeys here, they're going to be like, okay, cool, the work is done, but that means no more chestnuts. And that's a problem, because they like themselves them peeled chestnuts. I mean, initially, Squirtle kind of laughs it off. Of course they're not going to get any more. The work is done. And then they're going to get all angry and start attacking. So they're going to try to destroy the base. Of course, we're going to stop them, and nothing will happen. But, yeah, they're all upset here. So with that out of the way, we're going to do some more missions. Because we have 2 more sets of missions that still need doing in this entire run. We have all of the missions we need at this point. We're going to start with doing 4 missions in Mount Steel. Once we're done with that, we're going to get a cutscene that kind of forwards the plot a bit. And then we're going to get another mission day where we just do 2 missions. Once all of that is done, we are going to move into the last 2 dungeons of the game. So we're actually getting, in that sense, reasonably close. They are very, very long dungeons, and we still have a lot of stuff that needs doing. But we are, in that sense at least, getting quite close to the end now. I really shouldn't be using these attacks on them. Like, I can just use an A press to attack, which is also fine. Okay, but here's the first mission, floor 3. In this dungeon, the client is a bit easier to find because their color doesn't contrast too much with the remainder of the floor, which is quite convenient. Okay, so there we go. Of course, he's all the way at the end of the room here. So we save the Pidgey. That's our first client done. We still have a few more missions, so we're going to move on. Generally speaking, we want to have the missions on 3, 5, 6, and 7. Except if you do the manipulated run, there we actually want 3, 6, 7, and 8, because the manipulation for the 5th floor is just really annoying. There's just no good way to manipulate that rescue, which is kind of a thing. Okay, that's our mission 5 Pokemon. So because of the Growl, our A attack actually doesn't kill anymore, or at least it is not guaranteed anymore. We just have to find the stairs, though. There they are. Okay, we find our client, but we don't see the stairs yet. So we're just gonna move. Oh, actually, no, the stairs are at the bottom of the floor. I completely missed. I thought that was an item for a second, but it's not. So we can save the Pidgey and immediately, well, we have to defeat the Beldum, but then we can immediately move on to floor 7 and finish up this this set of missions. That was a good Mount Steel so far, honestly. Pretty happy with how this Mount Steel went. Of course, we do still have to find our client on this floor. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to get a few more Pokemon trying to block our path. It's not here either. Oh, there it is in the hallway. Okay. We found the Zigzagoon. It's played on a DS, Cheese. Same DS I always play on. This is the same DS. So yeah, we get all of the rewards from these missions. Honestly, it doesn't even matter what we get here. Most of the items are just going to be sent to... Oh, actually, no, because... No, they didn't get sent to Kangaskhan, did they? Okay, now they do. Yeah, I've learned some new things that I can use for my own setup at home as well to improve the quality a bit more. We'll get to that when I start streaming at home again, when we do more DS runs. Okay, so I'm gonna trash those. I don't need those. I'm gonna get rid of the grass gummy. So as soon as we wake up, it turns out that all the Pokemon are being gathered in the square. Shiftry has been calling for a meeting. See, the thing is, Alakazam's team has yet to return, and the Earthquakes are still going. So they are going to try and form a rescue party to try and deal with this problem with Groudon. Well, I appreciate that, Abra. I appreciate that. And thank you, Baspol. I appreciate that. Anyway, he's called all of the rescue teams in here to try and figure out if we can get a team moving towards helping Groudon. A lot of Pokemon are very reluctant to go because, you know, it's fire and dangerous and it's something else. Now, at this point, we want to step up, but Lombre here, he's going to stop us. There'll be another team. Sure, we're strong, but there are tougher Pokemon here, right? And at that point, the Blastoise decides to step forward. Team Hydro's leader. He's a powerful Pokemon. Groudon's a ground-type Pokemon. He's a water-type. He's got the type advantage. And for that same reason, Octillery decides to go as well. She's the leader of... I don't actually know the name of her team, but she's also a leader of one of the teams. And then as the third one, Golem decides to go as well. So yeah, that is a very solid team to go into Magma Cavern. We get to just rest for another day here. I think for the sake of safety, I'm going to check the Keck Shop for more revivers. We have a lot of money. We're making decent time so far. I think I can afford to do that. It's unfortunate that he doesn't have one. I am going to get another Huge Apple, though. Those are quite helpful in the next dungeon. Okay, we're going to take the 2 jobs. We're going to lose one of our Oran berries because of it, but we don't really need it anyway. So this is only 2 missions. Pretty quick here. We're going to see if we can rescue the 2 Pokemon. It's floor 2 and 3. Tiny Woods. Shortest dungeon in the game. So let's just go through it. Everything dies to an A-Press here, so I don't have to worry about using power points either. Okay, floor 2. The only downside that this dungeon has is just it's hard to see where the partner is, or where the one that we're going to recruit is. We get to find an Ampharos. That's probably the biggest Pokemon we've seen in any of the rescue missions. This is the mission that we got quite late, so kind of makes sense. Okay, last floor. Here we have to deliver an Oran Berry to some Pokemon. I don't know which one. I think it's that Linoon. I think that's a safe bet. Get over here. There we go. And off we go. That was the last regular mission that we needed to do. We just have 2 dungeons left at this point. We're still some ways away because those are also the 2 biggest dungeons in the any % run. But there are, at this point, only 2 dungeons left. Oh, this guy's going to give us a Reviver Seed. That's nice. That gives us 1 extra at least. So the next morning that we wake up, a massive earthquake happens again. It's safe to say the problem has yet to be solved. Squirtle then comes running in, and they tell us that he tells us that there's a commotion down at the square and that we have to go there right away. Yeah, remember that team that we picked of really, really powerful Pokemon that would go and take care of Groudon? Yeah, they came back, and they are completely beat up. They didn't even get to Groudon. So, they're completely knocked out here. At this point, Gengar comes running in and offers to take care of the problem. At a condition, though. He just starts to cause a bunch of commotion, making everybody really scared. Just making things worse than it already is. He just tries to convince everybody to just give up. And at that point, you know what? We're gonna go. We're not gonna get... we're not scared of what Gengar tells us. It's Gengar. He's been screwing with us since the beginning. And so Team ESA takes it upon themselves to go into the dungeon. A lot of Pokemon know about us because of the Ninetales legend and about how we got to Mount Freeze and whatnot. So we must have been at least decently strong. So yeah, Gengar is pretty much greatly outnumbered. The other Pokemon start to have some confidence again. Team ESA is going to do it. He tries to convince the other Pokemon, but they're not having any of that. Even Blastoise is like, we may have failed once, but this is no time to get down. We have a problem to solve here. This is not how it's going to end. And if we all pull together, we might be able to conquer that dungeon. So everybody gets hyped, and Team ESA is gonna take the lead in going to Magma Cavern.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we have a $20 donation from the Stud Freak with no comment. So thank you very much for that donation. Thank you so much. Also, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Max Gentleman, and I will be your host for the next while. Just to remind you that we are raising money for young minds who are supporting young people with mental health. And if you would like to donate to that, check out our remaining incentives. And thank you so much for your support.
Okay, we get another Reviver Seed. And we're going to make our way to Magma Cavern here. It's time... We're going to have one final night's rest before we head out, though. Don't worry about it, chat. I think they're taking care of the audio issue. I'm seeing a smile, so I'm just taking that as a yes. So we meet up with Gardevoir once again, who shows up in our dream. And we get to hear a little bit more about what's been going on. And Gardevoir here tells us that our role is starting to come to an end. The role that we came here to fulfill, our adventure, it's closing into the end of it all. But yeah, then we wake up, and we're going to just head out. Squirtle is ready as well. And we're going to give it our best. We're going to go to... Okay, I'm not hearing any of that right now.
No? We're good? We're good? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
No worries. Sorry about that, guys. I was speaking a little low. So my name's Max Gentleman. I'll be your host for the next while, and it was just to repeat that donation because apparently I was quite low. We have a $20 donation from the Stud Freak. So thank you so much for that donation, and thank you for your support. And I'll be back quite soon.
Superfly, we're playing on a DS here. Just to answer your question, because I know it's not in the overlay. Anyway, we're going to go through this dungeon, and this is this place is something else. This is the longest dungeon that we've seen so far. It's 23 floors, and then the midpoint, and then 1 floor, and then the boss. It's also a dungeon that has very, very few food items. So earlier I've been picking up those huge apples, and that's mainly because it's quite likely that we're going to need them in this dungeon. We're pretty well prepared though. We've got a lot of reviver seeds, so we're just going to hope for the best. Okay, there's the stairs. Interestingly enough, in the Manipulator run, this is one of the very few dungeons, at least in the no warp scarf route, that we can opt to not manipulate the second floor, because we have to do another quick save at that floor, so you can just attempt to get lucky. On average, you should probably quick save, but if you're playing risky and want to try to save those few seconds, it is possible to save a little bit of time there. Because best case scenario, you save like 20 seconds. Worst case, you lose a lot more. Okay, we've got Squirtle leveling to 19. I'm going to grab that apple. At least there's one extra food item that we can bring. Of course I decide to go into the dead end. That's unfortunate. You'll start noticing that starting this dungeon, floors become quite big. The next dungeon is a lot worse in that sense. Sky Tower has really, really big floors with like dozens of rooms, and it can really go in a lot of different directions. So that's always a terrifying one just because of that. But this dungeon can be something else as well. Okay, Magma Cavern, floor 6. Let's see how this is going to go. Immediately starting with these 2 Nidoqueens. These Nidoqueens are actually kind of scary because they do have Poison Point, which means that when I do physical attacks, there's a chance that I get poisoned. Throughout the run, you may have noticed that I've been trying to save a Pecha Berry, and we're still carrying this Pecha Berry with us as we speak. And that's mainly because in this dungeon, it's quite likely early on to get poisoned. There's quite a few Pokemon that can do that, so if that happens, I have the option to go for that Pecha Berry, heal the poison, especially if it doesn't seem like we're going to be finding the stairs anytime soon. And that might save me a Reviver Seed. Might also not, time will tell, but it's just an extra little safety we can bring into the dungeon with us. Okay, we're already going to be needing the first Max Elixir soon. I'm probably going to have to pick out the other ones from the Keck Shop. Or, sorry, from the... not the Keck Shop. The Kangaskhan storage before heading into Sky Tower. Okay, floor 8. Magmars have Flame Body. So there's a chance that they'll burn me, but the burn isn't necessarily as bad. It's not as troublesome, at least, as poison. While you're burned, you also take damage every couple of steps, but it doesn't stop you from regaining some health upon walking around, which tends to, at least at later levels, pretty much even out. So you take about as much damage as you heal off, so the chances of dying become a lot slimmer. And then at some point, it even goes so far as to heal you more than it hurts you. A lot of Pokemon here trying to fight me. And it doesn't help if my moves start missing either. Okay. There's the stairs. So we're still less than halfway through the first half of Magma Cavern. It really just goes to show how big this dungeon can get. So yeah, Max, I guess if you have more to talk about, feel free to do so while we make our way through this dungeon.
Yeah, definitely. I would just like to thank you for watching the United Kingdom Speedrunner Gathering, a 2-day speedrunning marathon held for 4 times a year, and we're coming to you live from Glasgow in Scotland. We are raising money to support Young Minds, a charity leading the fight for the future where all young minds are supported and empowered, whatever the challenges. The donations help them to make sure young people get the best possible mental health support and have the resilience to overcome life's difficulties. Also, if you want to get updates for when our marathons go live and when your favourite runs are coming up, then follow us on Twitter at UKSG Marathon. Also, if you use the hashtag UKSG Winter 2020, you may be featured on your stream. Thank you.
Okay, so there we had the first example of Smog actually poisoning us. It didn't take me too long to find the stair, so I didn't need to use the Pecha Berry, but those are the situations where that Pecha Berry can potentially be a lifesaver. Let me go down. There is a room there. Yeah. There wasn't actually anything in it, but I figured I'd at least check if the stairs were there. Yeah, so when it comes to like the consoles, we can. Ooh, okay. Thinking face. Let's see. How are we gonna approach this? So when it comes to the consoles that we run on, we've got a few options. You can run Pokemon Mystery Dungeon on GBA with Red Rescue Team. That is generally the slowest version to run on because it lags a lot. Like, a lot of the stuff in this dungeon is moving a little bit, and that just causes the game to lag out a lot. Aside from that, there's the option of playing on DS, which isn't actually the fastest version. There is a faster version of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team for the Wii U Virtual Console. That's generally speaking the fastest option you've got. But since I don't have a Wii U, I'm opting to play on DS, which, like I said, that's the second fastest method. It's, I want to say, about 10-ish minutes slower. GBA is like, it's not even close. Like, you don't want to run GBA, essentially. It's what I learned the game on, but it's like half an hour slower or something. It's ridiculous. Okay, since I got paralyzed through Disable, I'm just going to have Squirtle take care of the Grimers. We're going to need another food item. Yeah, that was an instance where the wrong move order on Squirtle actually made a bit of a difference. It wasn't a huge difference, though, so in the end, it probably didn't really change anything. Okay, floor 19. I'm going to just not fight that golem. I don't have to. This one I kind of do. Let's have Squirtle take care of that. Now, past this dungeon, I don't have to worry about food items as much. Food can still be a tricky thing in Sky Tower, but Sky Tower has the second highest gummy density of any dungeon in the game. Yeah, I was afraid this might be a thing. Okay, there we go. No, there are some version exclusive Pokemon. So certain Pokemon are only recruitable in Blue Rescue Team and only in Red Rescue Team, but they're the same amount, and they don't actually, like, it doesn't actually change anything really. Oh, that's a Ripper Reviver. Because you can Wonder Mail in the remaining ones, that's not a big deal. I can't use items either. Grimer, can we stop doing this? This Grimer's being a real pain right now. There we go. So yeah, even in Recruit Them All, it doesn't really matter which version you run. At least technically it's not. It doesn't matter. Although it is highly recommendable not to try to Recruit Them All on the GBA version, at least in speedrunning, for speedrunning purposes. Because on a Recruit Them All, you'd lose probably up to a day just on lag. The Recruit Them All No Wonder Mail is 3 to 4 days. Like, no quick save, no Wonder Mail. So, I cannot recommend doing that on GBA because you lose like half a day to a day. Yeah, I hear you, Rifton. But yeah, this is like, oh, that's a really unfortunate place to lose a Reviver seat, because that staircase was actually going to take me to the end there. How many do I have? Okay, I've got 5 left. We'll probably be okay here. Yeah, I believe PMD Red Rescue Team on Wii U VC lags even more than GBA, although I could be wrong on that. I remember hearing something along those lines. That's the even worse version. How do you do a 4-day speedrun? You start the run, and you just go on. And at some point, you take a sleep break. Or 4. Now, the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon community with the Recruit Them Alls, because most of those are multi-day runs, have actually built in rules to allow for sleep breaks. For unrestricted Recruit Them All for Blue Rescue Team, for example, I believe you're allowed up to 6 breaks, which are up to 9 hours each, which will basically cover all of the sleep that you might need to get. I could be wrong on the number of breaks, but essentially you're allowed a certain amount of breaks up to 9 hours each. So that's an additional rule. Before that became a thing, it was just RTA. So, you know, you just run, go to bed, wake up, continue the run. Now, there's not a lot of people running that because, let's be fair, not a lot of people run 9-day runs, or 4-day runs. But it's a thing, and it's a pretty cool run to do. I really enjoy running it. I just don't usually have enough time to do it. Okay, so that's Groudon. Easy fight, just like the other bosses. We just use Attract and just spam Link's moves, and it's easy from there. But yeah, we have found Alakazam, we have found the other 2. We've now defeated Groudon, and we can actually get back. Yeah, Breath of the Wild 100% has a similar rule. They also allow for sleep breaks. Bat and Kaito's 100%, it doesn't matter because you need to wait anyway. So you can just it can just continue like that. But yeah, we get back to the Pokemon Square, and then another earthquake happens, which is a bit weird, considering Groudon has been defeated. But see, it's not an earthquake that we were feeling. In any case, we get back into the square here, and then the big reveal kind of happens. Everybody already knows that we've managed to defeat Groudon because Pelipper has already spread word. Team ESA is now considered a first-class rescue team. And with that, you know, everybody's happy. But then we get a message from Xatu through telepathy. And everybody here can hear it. So yeah, Xatu tells us that there's a star falling from the sky and heading right towards the Pokemon world. The disasters in natures and the balance being upset had to do with this star. He now knows that that was the reason all along. So, yeah, we are going to have to deal with that one way or another. And Xatu does have a suggestion. There's a legendary Pokemon named Rayquaza that lives in the sky and that might be able to destroy the meteorite. Now, the suggestion becomes that Skitty and Squirtle are going to be the ones going up into the Sky Tower to try and save everybody. Now I'm going to have to try and... okay, he's got 2 more Reviver Seeds. That's really nice. So he gets stocked up on those. We're really good on Reviver Seeds. I'm gonna grab the elixirs that I still have at Kangaskhan right now. So we have a fair few here. This is one of those dungeons where it's pretty likely that we're going to have to use a fair few because a lot of Pokemon in the dungeon have pressure. So I'm just gonna grab all of them. At least that way we're fully stocked. We've got a full inventory with just apples, Reviver Seeds, elixirs, all that sort of stuff. And with that, we are gonna head out tomorrow. Now, when a meteorite falls like that and has already entered the atmosphere, you definitely don't have the time to sleep for a night. But, you know, we're going to just go with it. At night, however, we get a different kind of dream than we've had so far. We get a nightmare. See, Gengar here, he's going to be using Dream Eater on us. The fate of the world depends on us, including Gengar's own life, but he decides to use Dream Eater on us anyway. But then a light comes in and scares the Gengar away. And then the pain kind of just goes away and everything goes back to normal. And Gardevoir shows up once again. Gardevoir is now going to tell us the full story about how we became a Pokemon from a human to save the world. Our destiny is to stop this meteorite from crashing into the planet. They chose me because of something about true courage. Like, supposedly this human had a lot of courage and is now going to fight as a Pokemon to figure it out. And once that is done, you know, once we've saved the world, that's the point where we can go back to becoming a human again. So that's it. The end is getting close here. I'm going to say in advance, just so Tech is aware, after we beat Rayquaza, we still have about 6 minutes left. So it'll be a while, even after the Sky Tower, before we actually get to time. So we head out. We're not going to tell the Squirtle that this is going to be our last mission, because it'll distract him. It wouldn't be good. And we make our way to the Hill of the Ancients, where both Xatu and Alakazam are preparing a teleportation gem that will actually get us to the Sky Tower. In order to get back here, if you want to try to, for example, recruit Rayquaza in the post-game, you need to have a Pokemon with Fly. But for this one time, we're going to get that teleport gem. And that's going to get us up there. Now, Alakazam asks us one last time if we're ready to face this kind of danger, because it's going to become dangerous. Like, Sky Tower is no easy place. But we're ready. And we're gonna just go for it. And so the gem gets activated. I'm gonna warp into the final dungeon of the game. Now, this is also the longest dungeon of the game. At least in the NA% run. It's 25 floors until the midpoint, and then another 9 floors in the or after we've passed the midpoint, for a total of 34 floors, with Rayquaza being on floor 34. So we're gonna take some time getting through this place, and there is a lot of things that can kill us here. There is Venomoth with Silverwind. There are Aerodactyls that can do a lot of damage. We also have to kind of deal with these Shedinjas. I have Graveler Seeds for these, so I can use up to 5 to defeat them like that. There's no guarantee that we have enough at this point. We just kind of hope that we do. Fortress is generally not a dangerous Pokemon. Okay, I'm seeing a link box there, and I actually want to pick that up. Okay, this is... I'm going to switch that with the Pecha Berry. We're going to be giving that back. And then I'm going to grab the link box. Essentially, the link box I can use to link moves on one Pokemon. We're going to use that in case we somehow get our moves delinked at any point. Just as a nice little backup like that. Okay, this is not great. Yeah, I'm going to have Squirtle take care of that, because his moves actually do something. It's not enough to get the kill, though. Get him infatuated. Yeah, there's like the first 12 floors will have Ghost-type Pokemon that go through the wall. So that's another thing we have to deal with. But we'll see how things go. Another fortress. Okay, got to the stairs with a bit of a detour there, but got there pretty quickly at least. I think I'm going to take care of the just get rid of this fortress. That's going to be a bit of a pain if he stays around there. I think I'm going to do it like this and hope that the Squirtle actually hits 3 times. Okay, he got a crit at the end there. That works too. Then I don't have to use more moves than that. I think Fortress does have Explosion, but Explosion doesn't actually defeat himself or me necessarily. Explosion and Self-Destruct kind of work in a weird way in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. It'd be too broken if it instantly kills you. Like, it wouldn't be viable at all, because that would just mean like you can use it for as many times as you have Reviver Seeds. They might have been X-ray goggles. They might also not have been. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I have other items that are more important. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, the... so instead, what Self-Destruct does is, to yourself, it does a set amount of damage. I believe it's 40 damage or something. And then to every other Pokemon around you, it does half of their total HP. Something like that. I could be getting some of the numbers wrong, but it's something along those lines. Okay, floor 9. We're almost through the part where the ghost types are going to be. Basically, the first 6 floors have Shuppets. The 6 floors after that have Duskulls. And I believe those are the only one that can actually go through the walls. So we're going to be done with that pretty soon. Floor 11. Okay, so this is a heal floor. Luckily one where we actually got a stair floor, so that's really useful. Last ghost floor, and then we're pretty much in the clear. These weather patterns here are not random, by the way. It's actually set that at certain floors we get a specific kind of weather. I don't know all of them from the top of my head, but we kind of just have to deal with that all the time. So it's not, this is not something new in that sense. So at least in that sense, this part isn't... it's not going to add even more randomness, because hail is a really slow kind of weather. Okay, we've made it past the worst part of the first half of Sky Tower. The second half has worse parts in it, in my opinion, so... Oh, there's another... I thought that was the last time. This is kind of bad, actually. Okay, we're alive. I think I'm going to use that Oron Berry right now. Okay, so my Link's moves are about to run out, so I'm going to use one of those Max Elixirs just to make sure that that doesn't happen. There's... yeah, I was about to say, there's another Duskull up there. Yeah, I can see the stairs, but I should have probably just killed it in the first place. It might have been 7 floors then? That would also work. Oh well, it doesn't really matter. So this is the next hail floor. Unfortunately, this time around we didn't get a stairs floor, so we just have to deal with the hail. Okay, that was still pretty quick. Okay, you can probably start telling at this point that a lot of the floors start to kind of become more, or just bigger as we go. That's gonna keep being a thing, especially in the post, like the peak parts, like after the midpoint. The floors just they get like the biggest they get, like the most paths that you have to deal with. It's really annoying. Hopefully not going to mess with us too much today, but time will tell. And I've mentioned before that I would say this again at the end of the run, but if you've been liking these sort of Pokemon runs, be sure to check out my channel as well. I do a lot of Mystery Dungeon as well as other Pokemon games. Like I run pretty much all of them. And Mystery Dungeon's definitely one of the titles that I always like to run there as well. So if you enjoy Pokemon runs, it's always appreciated. Okay, there's that one. I don't really need to pick up the apple. We have enough food items with us, so I'm not going to bother picking it up. It's too slow. We're 6 floors away from the midpoint at this point. I've done 2 runs of Snap. I've got one of the worst times on the board because I do not like doing that run. But I have run it, yes. Okay, so the Dusclops here has pressure. This is one of those Pokemon that I was talking about where I gotta be very careful with the moves that I use. Because if we run out of moves, that becomes a problem. I run at Coliseum and XD. Yeah, I've run those. $21, almost there. And we start in a monster house. This is scary. Okay. So this is what we call monster houses. This is only the second we're seeing this run, but this is a really bad place to start a monster house. There's a lot of Pokemon with pressure here. Yeah, I was afraid this was going to be a thing. We may die here. Crap. Yeah, this is bad. I don't have a path out either. I don't have any items to deal with this specific kind of monster house. We're just gonna have to fight our way through and hope we don't lose all of our Reviver seeds. We're going to lose a few, guaranteed. Especially since they get to attack a lot because of the agility from Aerodactyl. I think I'm going to take care of the Dusclops first here. Yeah, that was expected. There was no way that wasn't going to happen. Oh, that didn't kill the Aerodactyl. That's really bad. Yeah, we're going to lose another Reviver Seed in a moment. I just don't see a way around that. Yep, there we go. Oh, and we're flinched. And confused. Oh boy. This is getting worse and worse right now. I am glad we checked that extra Keck shop for more Reviver Seeds, because it looks like we're going to need a lot of them. There goes number 3. Number 4. More confusion. Really, game, please. I have 3 left. Okay, that's at least one of the Aerodactyls dealt with. Actually, one thing I could try to do... Okay, that's 2 Aerodactyls dealt with. The Aerodactyls are mainly the scary ones because they actually have things like Supersonic and... okay. We're almost out of this monster house, but I'm also almost out of Reviver Seats. Which is terrifying because we still have all of the top floors left. And there is another agility. Yeah, that was to be expected. I'm going to use that to get rid of the Venomoth at least. This is definitely not fine, by the way. Definitely not. Okay, how many do I have? I am out. We are completely out of Reviver Seeds. We just used 7 in one floor. Okay, if I die, we are dead. This is... Yeah, this is gonna be something else from here. If any of my Pokemon die at any point, unless I find another Reviver Seed, the run, like, we just die here. So, we are far from the end. I was in a very comfortable position until, like, 3 minutes ago. Okay, we're out of that floor. Floor 23, let's go. Let's see if we can make it. I'm still confident we can make it. It's not over yet. We survived that room somehow, so there's a chance. But it makes this run very scary at a point where it really doesn't need to be scary. Okay, game, I could really use some stair floors. I'll probably save at floor 9. Like, floor, like the midpoint floor, like just before the next, like, so 26 essentially. Because I can save there. Which does give me some options. I just need to get like 3, I need to continue past 3 more floors and then we're at least at a midpoint where I can save. Which will at least secure that we will win, and we will get through the game. If I were to die at past that point, I will try to just RNG manipulate the remaining floors, because I can do that. I made sure to have the backup notes open in case something like this would happen. No! No! Oh boy, this is... oh boy. Okay, we're gonna try something else now. I'm gonna at least look for one... please tell me there's... Okay, we still have 2 max elixirs, we still have an apple. Oh no, we just lost all of our money as well, so I can't even buy Reviver Seeds. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Okay, we're going to change the way we play a little bit from here on, obviously. I'm going to be changing my strats, and we're going to break the category. We're going to go to actually do some quick saving. So you'll start to see some RNG manipulation in a moment. That was the worst location for a monster house that I've seen in a while. Okay. So here we go. Hope you guys are ready to see some RNG manip. Let me make sure I have the correct notes open. Yeah, I'm gonna have to focus a lot on this next part. So because I don't have a warp orb, we can't manipulate these two, or we can't warp these two away, but we don't die to them, so it's not a big deal. I should have picked up some rocks. So you're supposed to just throw a gravel or rock. I don't have those, so I can't do that. Wait, what? I made a mistake somewhere. It's not terrible, but I'm gonna have to... Yeah, we're just gonna try to walk away from this thing. I think I already know where I made the mistake. So floor 5. Down, right, down, left, left. Down, left, left. And into the stairs. Right, left, left, down, left, 1, 2, left, 1, 2, 3. Up, left, up, left, down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up, left, down, 1, 2, down, into the stairs. Left, up, right, down, right. Left, up, left, up, left. So basically, like, the RNG value is known right now, because of which I can actually manipulate these floor. At least try to. Down, right, up, right, down, right, up, right, down, right. This should pretty much give me the same result every time I do this, more or less. Down, left, down, left, down. We get hit by the hail. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, up, left, 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up, right, 1, 2, 3, left. Okay, so far so good. Down, right, down. Down, left, down, right. Get hit by the hail. Down, right. We're actually going to walk a tile on this next floor. We're going to go down, left, down, 1, 2, 3, down, left, 1, 2, 3, and then onto the stairs. No, these also get rerun fairy. Down, left, up, 1, 2, down, left, 1, 2, left, down, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and onto the stairs. So this floor we do actually have to attack, because we spawn next to a Dusclops. That's not too bad though. As long as we don't have any monster houses like before, we should generally be okay, right? 1, 2, 3. Oh right, this floor... This is one of the few floors that I gotta try and remember how this one works again. I think it's up here. Yeah. 20 is right, turn and attack. So we're actually going to go down. This is not where the stairs are, but we just do that for our... okay, I was trying to manipulate that scissor away, but I went down one too far. Left, up, right, up, right, up, right. 21. Right, down, right, right, down, right, down, right, down, down, left, left, down, down, right. 22 is down, right, up, right, right, up, 1, 2. Down. Okay, I'm gonna actually eat my remaining apple here. 23. We're back where we died. So we've made it this far. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, down, down, down. Left, up, left, up, left, left, up, left. So these Venomoths... Okay, not sure how that happened. Somebody didn't turn something off on this PC. Okay, whatever. Down, right, down, right, down, right, right, down, right, 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 up. And we've made it to the midpoint. Okay. We still have 9 more floors to do, by the way. We're going to manipulate these as well at this point. Because I'm completely out of every item that I could want to have here. Just dying 7 times in one run like that is... Or in one room like that is something else. But yeah, the first floor, just like before, we can't actually manipulate these. Because I need to set the value of the RNG, which I can only do by going to a staircase and then saving or doing a quick save right before it. And it actually saves a lot of time in this part as well, so we should be able to pretty much make up all of the time lost from before. Right, down, left, left, up, left, down, left. He's gonna teleport himself away, actually. Up, right, up, left. So that's like that. Even that warp was manipulated. Left, down, left, up, left, down, left. 1, 2, 3. And we're gonna actually quick save again here. Like, we do need that extra quick save in order to be able to make this work, because the floors that were coming up were not favorable for us in any way. This is how we work around that. Right, down, 1, 2, 3, 4, up, 1, 2, 3, up, right, down, right, up. And there we go. Floor 5. So this is one of the very few floors where my usual manipulation actually doesn't work. I know where the stairs are, though. Like, I still know how to move on, but that floor becomes different because of the way that I'm doing the manip. 1, 2, 3 to the right. Down, right, up, right. Right, down, and into that one. Okay, we've got one Aerodactyl that we still need to deal with. Yeah, it's the category is known as no Wonder Mill, no quick save, but because we died in Sky Tower, we're doing a quick save so that at least we can finish this run properly. Left, down, left, up, left, down, right, 1, 2, into the stairs. Okay, we made it to Rayquaza. Final boss of the game, let's go. In the manipulated run, you're about level 14 as you get up here. Yeah, no QS does stand for no quick save, and normally we would go for that, but we died on floor 23 of Sky Tower on the first try through, and to not go massively overestimate, I figured, okay, we'll manipulate it just to get back, because I had no revivers left either, so getting through Sky Tower without or in the position that I was going to be nearly impossible. So this is just the backup that we're going for right now. So yeah, the Rayquaza fight is actually a pretty easy boss. We attract and then just use a bunch of moves like that. Because of all the tail whips, the damage actually goes up significantly as well. Okay, he slowed the other Pokemon down, that's fine. We're just gonna use Attract again. Okay, that's the final boss. So at this point, it's about 6 minutes left. We are gonna learn a new move, which kind of slows it down a bit, but we've got a few minutes worth of cutscenes left, and then we're actually at the end. Special moves do so little damage, pretty much because every move does, but because of the tail whips, his defense was dropped enough that they start increasingly doing damage. So, yeah, after we defeat Rayquaza, he tries to attack us again, but then the meteorite is getting quite close here. We literally get an earthquake in the sky, so to speak, from the shock waves that are coming from this thing. Rayquaza now finally understands why we're here to face him, and is going to do a Hyper Beam on that meteorite to stop it from actually destroying the world. He does warn us in advance that if he loses the Hyper Beam while that thing is still falling, there is no chance for us to escape. But it's like, yeah, it's either that or the end of the world. Just go for it. And so he destroys the meteorite. We manage to survive falling down, but we do get knocked unconscious. Sort of. But then in this state that we're at, Gengar shows up again, and he decides to drag us into the Dark World. Problem is, he doesn't actually know how to get us to the Dark World. And he just starts wandering aimlessly, having no clue where he is. So yeah, he just can't tell which way it is. So he's just going to leave us. It's not exactly his most well thought out plan, that's for sure. But yeah, eventually we snap out of it. We wake up again, surrounded by all the Pokemon from the square. Well, we've saved the world. Everybody gets super happy because we're all alive and all is well, and we've saved the world, and the star is no longer a threat. And according to Zatu, the disasters are going to slow down as well from here on. So we get to see Pokemon Town once again. We see the Wish Cache and the pond. By the way, time will be when we fade into the credits. I'll call it out when it happens. It's about 4 minutes from now, I think. So yeah, everybody gets super happy and ready to celebrate. And then Lombre starts to wander off a bit, and he gets stopped by the other Pokemon. But, I mean, our mission has come to an end. So we see Gardevoir one more time. Peace has returned to the world, and that means our role has now ended. It's time for us to go back to becoming a human again. Caterpie is the first one to notice, and Squirtle is quite shocked by this. As we mentioned, that our role has ended. It's back to the human world for us. Squirtle doesn't really understand why. I mean, we're his friend, right? But he'll always be our friend, but it's time for us to leave. Our time has come. So though the world is saved, we're not going to be seeing any of it. So now Squirtle is gonna be all sad, and everybody else as well, honestly. What was a very happy day became a very sad day right away. Zatu knew that it was coming. He was the only one who was aware, but I mean, if we knew, you know, things might have played differently, so he decided to keep it a secret as well. So yeah, this is the last cutscene before we hit time. It's not much left at this point. So this is basically our transition towards the human world again as we rise into the sky, or at least our spirit does. And we hear the voices, and we hear our friend being heartbroken. He was a true friend. It's safe to say that much. And it's that moment that we realize that if we just wish strong enough, you know, perhaps we may meet again. And so we do. Time. And that is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Blue Rescue Team, any percent, no Wonder Mail, and a little bit of quick save. It's I'm glad we still managed to finish that after that death, because Sky Tower can be quite something. So yeah, for those that don't know how this goes from here, the wish comes through, we go back to the Pokemon world, and we show up again as Skitty, and we get to play through a lot more dungeons. They actually come into play in all icons and all dungeons and recruit them all. Those are really, really cool categories, definitely worth checking out. If you enjoyed Pokemon runs like this, I'll mention it one last time. I'd be really happy if you check out my channel as well. I run Pokemon pretty much like 5 days a week, and it goes from main series to side games, including mystery dungeons, including things like recruit them all. They're always fun to do. So in any case, I hope you guys enjoyed the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon run. I will be back at the very end of the marathon again with one small little game. It's not going to be Pokemon. We're going to be doing some Nubo at the end. But we've got some great runs in between as well, so be sure to stay tuned for those. And hope to see you guys around on my channel at some point or later during the marathon. Have a good one, everybody.